Hello, 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 friends. Welcome in. I know we're a little late today. I've been trying my best here, trying to make sure this hunk of laptop behaves. Since last stream, you all know what happened. I literally spent from the time I got home, roughly like 7:30, till now, which is like 9:30, on my computer trying to get it all to work, essentially. And so here we are, post gym time. Though I'm not trying to make it a habit. Usually, I'd be ready and roaring to go. And I was, even this time. But I did a couple of little things, little tinkering things here and there. And I'm hoping, with both fingers crossed, that it'll, help in terms of streaming and not crashing every 10 seconds. Because that's not fun for anyone, is it? Anyway, welcome in. Your girl's looking a little rough right now. I don't have any makeup on, but maybe we can change that over the course of this stream. Yeah, Tinkerbell 4, that's exactly right. And so I was actually talking to a friend about it who's a lot more tech savvy than I am. His theory was that my computer was overheating because I got the blue screen of death with the sad face. And apparently that's that's not a great sign. And so I kind of tried to delete some programs, rearrange some things, and in general, just make my computer a little bit happier. So I'm hoping today it's really going to be like a bit of a test/experiment. We'll see how we go. If we make it a full stream without any issues, I'll consider that a dub. And it'll prevent me from having to replace this workhorse, which has been with me since 2019. It is I've got a soft spot for it, essentially. And it's it's my baby. I'm trying to hang on to it and use it for as long as possible, even though it is getting on now. It's 2025. And so with tech, especially with laptops and stuff like that, they become so quickly obsolete. It's such a shame. I'm trying to hang on to this one. It's quite a special little device for me. And so here we are. I'm hoping that things go well. And yeah, today we've got the fit. It's colorful as heck, very arty farty. And yeah, I'll show you guys maybe the full get up in a little bit. I'm glad to be here, and I'm happy to say that, goodness gracious, we actually made it a week's worth of outfits. This is the 8th outfit on stream, and yeah, we're still going strong. I'm going to check back in with you guys week by week and see how we're doing in terms of the outfit storage and how many we have left. Honestly, it looks like there's an infinite amount of outfits still waiting for us to enjoy. So anyway, how are you guys feeling? Are you feeling good? You feeling like you're ready to tackle the time zone no matter where you are? Because I think, yeah, that's the vibe for today. You guys see the title? It's New Levels, New Devils, which means essentially, as we only upgrade over here, as we continue to ascend in our respective kind of arenas, it presents new challenges, right? That we're kind of saddled with to overcome. And so, it's just another thing to put your focus on and to set your sights on. And so, yeah, new levels, new devils. One of those challenges could include being sick. I'm sorry to hear that, Zach. It sucks. And I'm wishing you a speedy recovery. I'm actually feeling pretty good today in terms of my health and stuff like that. Did I do shrooms between last stream and now? No, I have not, even though this shirt is giving trippy. And so, yeah, maybe if I ever do shrooms, it'll be with you guys on camera. Is that illegal? No. Don't quote me on that. But yes, this shirt is very colorful, trippy, psychedelic, and I'm all here for it. It actually looks very pretty on camera, It looks pretty in real life too, but there's something about the front-facing light that really makes it pop. And so, yeah, let's see. I'm feeling good today. Feeling like, not too crazy, not too tired. The past few days I've been getting terrible sleep, which was being reflected in my just mood and, my energy levels. Today I'm feeling all right. I went to visit my grandma, my sick grandma, and we spent, my mum, my brother and I, we spent quite a while there, just sitting with one another, enjoying one another's company. And yeah, it was a really tender, special moment she's not doing so well, and it's becoming increasingly kind of obvious how, yeah, kind of, fragile she really is. And so, yeah, it's like, something that I've been trying to do, as in visit her as often as possible. But it had been a hot minute because, like I was saying in a previous stream, my dad just had surgery on his eyes. Nothing like crazy, nothing life-threatening. And he just looks a little bit worse for wear right now. A little bit scary if you have no idea what's going on. And so we spent some time away, especially with my mom. She got her wisdom teeth out, so it's been all happening. We didn't visit my grandma for like a week. And so, yeah, we had to quickly rectify that today. And we spent extra long just kind of sitting there. We even wrote a little bit together. Like my mom was helping my grandma with the texter that I had. And so, yeah, I was like, oh, I want a memento, like just something, anything to kind of keep for, after she inevitably passes. And yeah, we made some nice memories. So I'm feeling good today, even if it's a little bit bittersweet. And so, anyway, I also went to the gym after that, and that's why I'm looking a little bit freaking whatever this is. I don't know how you describe it. So yeah, I've got my makeup bag right next to me. I'm happy to maybe even try a psychedelic look. Who knows? Because I keep saying, like, every time I say, oh yeah, let's do a makeup look today, and then I get distracted by a conversation and then just end up not doing it. But today I really want to go for it. So maybe as we're talking, I can just play around. Let's zoom in a little bit. So, excuse me. This way, that's right. You can see up close and personal. This is what we got to work with. This blank canvas, which is, it is what it is, essentially. Here I've got my kind of bubblegum pink lip balm. How are you guys doing? Astito with a 10 stream streak. What a pleasure it is to have you. I hope you're well. Today is going to be a very chill kind of stream. It's thankfully not as freaking crazily, obscenely hot as it has been in the past few days. So I'm happy about that. I've still got the fan on like a low speed just in case, because it does get stuffy in here. And so, yeah. Emto with the 15 stream streak. That's incredible. Last stream that we did, when my computer was crashing every 10 seconds, we had like quite a few friends joining us. I know it was like the weekend and stuff, and there's always more of a turnout when people are free and don't have work and school, etc. We had like at one point up to like 75 or 80 people, and that was so fun and like kind of scary at the same time. Which is why it was extra heartbreaking when my computer was just like, yeet, see ya, right? So I don't know. It was just an interesting scenario to be in. Because, of course, when your stream crashes, you have to reset it. The people that were lurking maybe are unaware of the fact they're gone, they're away from their computer or whatever. And other people are just like, well, this is kind of annoying and inconvenient, which it is. So they just leave. So it's not great for analytics. Still, though, the fact that it happened in the first place was quite, charming and flattering. So, yeah, let's see if we can just keep going, new levels, new devils type beat. So, anyway, Carlos and Jack, hello. Some of our new friends. I'm doing my best today to make sure, that things run smoothly. Smooth as butter, because I know how annoying it is as a creator to have your technology kind of troll you. As a viewer, it's just very unpleasant as well. Kind of ruins the experience somewhat. And so I tried my best to kind of rectify that. Right now I'm just playing around with different makeup thingies. Sometimes it's amusing. That's true. It depends, on the situation, of course. But it's like, damn, at a certain point, it's like, okay, joke's over. You know what I mean? That's how I was feeling. And so, yeah. Guys, I think I just trapped my eyeliner in the cap. Okay, that's good. So, yeah. It wasn't too horrible to fix. Just a little bit technical. And I'm not sure if it's fully perfect yet, but we're getting there. Hopefully, if I start to lag or anything, if it starts looking funky, weird, if there's a delay, just let me know. I won't take it personally. Yeah, it's Murphy's Law in effect. That's exactly right. Anything that could go wrong will go wrong type beat. And so my friend suggested to kind of remove a couple of programs, to change a couple of settings, and to prioritize things, to prioritize programs like OBS and Chrome, which is unsurprising. So I'm hoping all those little adjustments can kind of add up, if that makes sense, to a bigger, more smooth, sorry, I don't know why I said it like that, smooth experience, you know? Because I want to, like, have this place be, I guess, what's the word? Not like a studio level professional, but like not crashing every 2 seconds. That's not what we want. It's not what anyone wants. No, he did not tell me to get rid of Discord. I would not have listened. I still have Discord, though I did clean up my desktop, and so some of the old stuff, old programs that I didn't use anymore, I got rid of as well. Right now it's pretty clean with just OBS, Chrome, and like Sony Vegas as well. But yeah, I might have to upgrade the hardware at some point. That's a good point. Like, there's only so much you can do when it comes to, like, kind of min-maxing your computer, right? Before you need to start just replacing and all that. It's hard with the laptop, though. A lot of the times parts are kind of soldered on instead of easily replaceable, which can be quite annoying. But anyway, Estita with the Doodle Bob. That's perfect to start off this stream. What would you like me to draw for you? As I get up paint. Whatever's on your mind. We can continue this look in a hot minute. The hair is hairing right now. I don't know if that's good or bad. Let's see. Anything your heart desires. A cherry with a computer catching fire? That might just be prophetic. That might be entirely prophetic. But you got it, my friend. Okay. There we go. Concealing that red blemish that I've had for like 2 weeks. How crazy is that? Gone in an instant. Makeup is literally magic, guys. Let's come here to my blank canvas. So do you mean me or an actual cherry? Both answers are accepted. Maybe I'll start with the computer. Okay. Last time I drew a laptop and I was pretty impressed with myself. Let's try again. Here. I know we're zoomed in a lot right now, but just trust the process, guys. Trust the process. Last time I drew my laptop with the blue screen of death, and that was quite prophetic, so I'm hoping my poor alien web beast does not catch fire. Here we go. Martinez, welcome in. I'm glad to have you, my friend. Right now, I'm doing a little drawing. Yeah, no blue screens today. I'm hoping and praying. But right now, we're drawing my computer on fire, which it kind of has been the past few streams. I felt it, and it's been hot enough to fry an egg, if I so desired, which is not ideal. What should I put here? Yeah, that's good. Too hot to handle type beat. Now, I'm not sure whether Estita wanted a humanoid cherry or a fruitoid cherry. Maybe I'll try and do a bit of both. I'll draw myself with like a cherry headband or hair clip or something like that. So, laptop on fire is exactly right. It's freaking crazy and so predictable. But I'm feeling good about this stream, so let's see. I'm like, oh, I'm shocked. Shocked and appalled. Okay. All right, all right. I'm trying to lock TF in. And hair. Oops. My hair's pretty long now, guys. It's actually crazy. It's like, it's kind of past my, not my tailbone, but it's approaching my tailbone. It's past the small of my back, which is, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. Obviously, like, I'm really into my long hair at the moment. It's like the first time in probably 10 years that it's been this long. But it is quite temperamental, as you guys have heard me complain about almost every single stream. It's easily tangled. It's quite, what's the word? Like, sensitive, I suppose. I have a sensitive scalp. Like, if I don't use special shampoo and conditioner, and if I use like too much heat, my scalp, it gets all like red and irritated. You can even kind of see it a lot of times in my hairline. It's just red, like kind of that, almost like psoriasis type beat. I think I get that from my dad's side, because sometimes I actually get like eczema on my elbows and stuff like that. It kind of comes and goes. Right now it's all right, but even as of like last week, I had these kinds of annoying, not itchy, but kind of just dry patches. Yes, it's definitely high maintenance, Emto. That's exactly right. And so my hair, like when it behaves, it looks so beautiful, you know, if I can even say that about my own self. And it's the hair, right? Not me. And it's like exactly my dream hair. But then that's like 0.1% of the time. And the rest of the time, it's like, it's frizzy, it's oily, or it's too dry. It's like very much that kind of Goldilocks thing, no pun intended, where it has to be in the exact sweet spot to get it looking kind of, you know, that wow factor. And so, you know me, I'm a lazy gal most of the time. And so it's only really special occasions where I'm like, all right, I'm going to like do something more than just letting my hair air dry. I'm going to like curl it or something, or like put in some special shit. I don't know. People get really involved and I'm just like, shampoo, conditioner, that's it. I need to get more locked in, so to speak. Anyway, my computer's on fire. I'm shocked about it. We've got the snake exclamation mark there. Oh yeah, the cherry, with a cherry in my hair. Wait, that looks like a music note. Ding! It's like a hair clip. And yeah, I've got grey hairs too, guys. You've heard me talk about it. It's mostly along my temples on either side. And sometimes you can see it on camera. I can't see it right now. Grey hairs, you know, it's the wisdom coming in, at least that's what I tell myself. And once I start turning like majority grey, I don't think I'll cover it up. Like, if I want to dye my hair a fun color, then I'll do that. But I won't try and make the grey hairs my natural color, like dark hair, dark black or whatever it is, because, I don't know, it's kind of cool. I feel like it's too much effort for something that's just natural in a sense. So, mark my words or don't. I might have kind of a salt and pepper look going on. It definitely works. I've found that it works in men, especially their facial hair, that salt and pepper look. I guess I'll have to try it for myself on my actual hair, my head hair, and see if I like it. Currently, you can't really tell. And, you know, I'm fine either way. I feel like I understand why people dye their hair. Like, people that don't like the look of the kind of the grays, especially if it's maybe uneven or patchy. But for me, I find it very endearing on other people. And even on myself, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Makes me feel like a wizard or something. Especially because the hair strand seems to be a different texture to the rest of my hair. It's kind of kinky and wiry, which I used to get annoyed at. But now I'm just like, yeah, well, kind of just have to make peace with it. Wherever you go, there you are type beat. And so it's like, just, it is what it is. And yeah, as I continue to get more grays as I age, I just wonder what it's going to look like, because this hair is pretty dark. Like, it's about as dark as you can get. And so without like dyeing it, you know what I mean? And so I wonder if that will make it stand out more or less, or if it'll just blend in like shininess. I guess you guys will see it unfold live, you know, since we're streaming like every second day. It's almost like one of those time lapses where it's like a man takes a photo of himself once per day for 10 years. You can kind of see him grow up. It's kind of like that. And so not just with my face, but with the state of my hair and if it's behaving or not, what color it is, etc. Because, you know, I actually did when I had COVID a couple times, when I was feeling really sick and kind of half anemic, etc., my hair was actually more grey than it is now. And please don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure you can revert grey hairs back to their normal, natural colour through particular kinds of lifestyle changes, aka supplementing, good sleep, so on and so forth. I know that can only take you so far, but it is possible. Sometimes you can see on people's hair strands, it goes like grey and let's say black in this case. Grey, black, grey, black, grey, black, like as they kind of go through different life changes. And it's so fascinating to me because I don't know, I guess I was just under the impression, especially when I was younger, that like once you turn grey, that's it. Like unless you dye your hair, there's no real turning back. But you know, it's actually a little bit more nuanced than that. Go figure. And yeah, it makes sense because Astita, you're absolutely right. The hair follicles receive nutrients from the blood flow underneath the scalp. And so it seems to follow, at least in my eyes, it seems like it makes sense that you could have some influence over the actual color. And people always talk about how when people go through big like periods of stress, they go pretty quickly gray, like almost unnaturally fast. And so it seems like, well, if you can go that way, surely you can go back, at least to some extent. And so, interesting, huh? Interesting. But anyway, this is the picture. This is me with a cherry in my hair. Shocked, surprised, appalled, and all of the above at seeing my computer on fire. While watching some potentially X-rated material. You can fill in the blanks yourself on that one. That's very funny. I'll save it and make sure Emmy's computer on fire. It gets added to the doodlebub list. Let's come back here. But yeah, right now, unless I get really up close and personal, you can't really see it on my alerts. Did I turn off my alerts? That's so weird. It should be working. Lullaby, thank you so much for the follow. Did you guys hear that? Because I did not. Speakers. You guys heard it, but I didn't. That's really strange. That's maybe a side effect of all the tinkering I was doing before. What the heck? Okay. That might have helped. Thank you. Yeah, the Doodlebob list. We have a lot of them. Some of them have already been posted. It was appropriately loud, perfect. Some of them I still have saved in my computer. I do like big Doodlebob posts in the server sometimes when I remember to do it. And they go from being hilariously bad to just being kind of mid. So that's what you can expect. But actually one of them, the Emmy in the hat, has become an actual emote, as you can see here. And also a coming soon keychain. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Anyway, what was I up to? I was playing with my face. Something that I wanted to try. What did I want to try? I kind of wanted to go for a bolder eyeliner look, but I'm a bit scared because you guys know what happens when I start experimenting. Things get very quickly out of hand. So keep the glitter away from me, you know. What do I have? I've got my eyelash stuff here. The glitter is the sign that, you know, I'm jumping off the deep end. Yes, it's definitely a chaotic kind of vibe. But I have misplaced it, I believe. It's somewhere in this house. So I'm spared for now. So I don't know. Depends where this stream goes, how crazy I want to take it. I'm sure you would love We're All Going to the World's Fair. Why does that sound familiar? I'm thinking of World's Fair Elvis. Because he was in a movie about... It happened at the World's Fair. With some of my favorite songs and scenes in there. But that's cool. Lullaby, I saw you followed earlier. Thank you very much. What's it about? Looks like it's a horror film. Oh, I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, just so you know. And thank you, Emto. Yeah, the Elvis counter must be updated at all times. Goodness gracious me. I have a love-hate relationship with horror because it often quite, unsurprisingly, like, terrifies me. And I try and stay away, but all my friends and family love horror so much that I'm always watching it anyway. Like, if we're watching a movie, it's usually something horror related. If we're playing a game, it's something horror related. If it's not like, Mario Party. And so it's, it's one of those funny things where I personally, I don't dislike it, but it dislikes me. But yet I'm still constantly surrounded by it, if that makes sense. And so anyway, that's quite funny. Maybe I'll recommend it to my mum because she's such a movie buff. One of her life goals was to watch everything in Netflix. And I was like, Mum, that's not possible. But she seems determined to try it anyway. So anyway. How have you guys been? What have you been up to? Because I have been mainly just, spending time with family, trying to figure out why my computer's been misbehaving. A little bit of writing. Not too much since we last spoke, but in general, a little bit of writing. And yeah, just kind of chilling like a villain. You know how it is. But I want to hear about you guys. What's been going on? The good, the bad, the ugly, the in-between. No right or wrong answers. I'm a curious George. Like earlier we were talking about what would your kind of spirit character be? Spirit cartoon character or something like that. I said Curious George because, well, it's in the name, for one. He's quite a curious little creature, which is a trait that I find to be quite important, in life. He's also a monkey, which is one of my favorite animals, if not my favorite animal. Like, baby monkeys especially, but all monkeys in general, and even gorillas and stuff, however scary they are in their absolute strength and unitness, I think they're just very interesting creatures. It also helps that, he's a cutie patootie, so that's why I said Curious George. But there are so many good ones to choose from, so if you guys have your own answers, I want to hear it. And yeah, I'm writing. I like to write poems and little stories. I've read to you guys some of them from my website, and that's always a fun time. However, kind of nerve-wracking and vulnerable making it can be. It's been a hot minute though since I've uploaded to my website, so I'm gonna try and get on that ASAP. ASAP. So yeah. What else? I'm looking at my makeup bag. I don't know, guys. I really don't know. It's kind of the samey look every time, but that's okay. And yeah, I know it's been kind of rough internationally. There's lots going on. I'm certainly not qualified to share a confident opinion about the state of the world, politics, etc. But I have compassion to those that might be kind of going through it right now, because it is quite a tumultuous time. So hopefully we can chill here and just kind of enjoy one another's company. If only for this little slice of time we can forget about all the bullshit that's going on, right? Because there's a lot of it. In terms of music that I like, it's quite basic, but then with a bit of a surprising twist. Because I'm into a lot of pop, and even the music that I make is quite pop-ish, maybe a little dash of indie in there. But then also I like, Elvis and some of the kind of 50s classics, and then some of the golden oldies, because my dad used to play that in the car. So a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Been really into the wall of sound stuff type stuff lately. Tell me more about that. That sounds interesting. Is that like more experimental? Because I quite love experimental art in general. When I was in university, I was studying creative writing, so that's what my degree was in. But I had like a particular focus on experimental, like poetry in particular. And it's got a, you know, a soft spot in my heart because I love when things are a little bit weird. You know what I mean? Like, they kind of make you go, vine boom sound effect. It's just like, you know, things that are pushing boundaries or kind of on the outskirts of what, of the cultural consciousness at that minute. Because then, you know, the general mainstream tends to catch up after. But it's nice to like see people like being daring and stuff. So I don't know if that's what the wall of sound is, but that's kind of what it's giving. Is my name Emmy Cherry? Yes, my actual full legal name is Emmy Cherry. And so if you want to come and find me, I live at Emmy Cherry Lane. And, you know, if you want to go through my mail, that's what you'll find written on there. Now, guys, you'll have to tell me if I get lipstick on my teeth. It's the worst feeling. Kind of trying to match some of the bolder, brighter colors in the shirt. And yes, Patthicc has been shaking his booty for quite a while. That reminds me of something Patthicc related to talk to you guys about later. Look at that. That's crazy. It's like vampire red. Oh my gosh. What if I did like... That just looks like a hickey. Fuck. Okay, no. We're not doing that. I do have the lip liner, not the eyeliner, to go for that vampire look, but for now let's just use the excess as blush. So yeah, we're gonna keep it real chill today. Hopefully we're in focus. Let me just do this. Is that better? I think so. I'm always laughing at the white cat with kiss marks pic. That's funny. I think I know which one you're talking about. The makeup stain. That's so cute. I'll show you guys. Like, wouldn't you? Oh god. That's adorable. Hopefully comes off easy though. Giving your cat a smooch on his fuzzy little forehead equals pure serotonin. Truer words have never been spoken. Oh my god. I don't have any pets, as you guys know, but sometimes the neighbor's cat would, this is when I was living with my parents, it would just kind of show up at our door, and so we'd like pet it for a while. Our parents told us not to feed it, but sometimes we still would, and then just send her, I think it was a her, on her merry way. And it's kind of sad because eventually she just stopped coming around, and so I don't know if, you know, she just shuffled off this mortal coil, or if the owners just started being a bit more diligent. But yeah, I haven't seen that cute kitty in a while, and it makes me sad. But her name was Snowball. Now my sister, and she's living all the way across the country, in like literally as far away as you can possibly get without escaping this island of Australia. She has 2 cats, and so it's kind of like the memory lives on. I've considered getting a pet, but I'm not sure. I feel like it's hard enough for me to take care of myself sometimes. If I were to get a pet or anything like that, excuse me, what the hell? I'd want to make sure, like, feel comfortable in my level of responsible adultness, you know? And I don't know if I can say that confidently yet. So, yeah, this mortal coil, you know how it is. So, all right, we're doing something here. You guys can see my hair. Oh god, it's just, it is what it is. And Zach, you posted the song in the Discord. Thank you. I might check that out after stream. It's nice to have like a repertoire, I think that's the word, of different kinds of genres and styles of music to kind of access. For someone like me, who's a little bit more insular maybe when it comes to, I guess, most forms of media, like songs, movies, etc., fielding like the best of the best from people that I trust is very helpful. So, yeah. That's what I tend to do with like movies and stuff, because it's hard for me to like jump out of my comfort zone sometimes and watch something other than Cat in the Hat. So if I'm going to watch anything, like I'll have to trust the person and their taste. Because if I watch a movie and it's bad, like that ruins my day. It's like, damn, that was like 2.5 hours that really could have been spent more wisely. But if it's like with friends, even if it is bad, it's kind of like a funny experience. But if it's just by myself, I'm like, damn, I could have been doing literally anything else. So I make sure that I pick movies and stuff like that, anything, songs, etc., from people that I'm like, yeah, I fuck with you. So no matter what it is, like I get something, some form of enjoyment out of it, even if it's just in learning a bit more about the person themselves, a little bit better, because, you know, someone's favorite song or movie really tells you a lot about them in a weird, sometimes roundabout way. For example, with Cat in the Hat, I think that really makes a lot of sense. It's zany, it's weird, it's like, it's a little bit camp, a little bit avant-garde, polarizing. Like, yeah, it's it's actually my sister's favorite movie as well, and then I kind of stole it from her. But it also is kind of like my favorite movie, so what can I do, right? And it's a childhood favorite, so maybe that's why the added nostalgia just seals the deal. It's definitely a comfort film, and so if I'm ever like, oh, what do I watch, or what do I want to put in the background, that's like top of the list, as well as a couple others that we've talked about. Things like the Austin Powers trilogy that has not really aged too well, but it still has, again, that nostalgia factor that I'll fall back on if I'm ever like, oh shit, what do I watch? I don't know. But I've been currently watching House, as you guys know. So it's, my TV time has been taken up by that show, considering there's like 8 seasons, like 20 episodes in each, like 40 minutes long. It's like, damn, we're being fed, you know? And then, of course, after like the writer's strike and everything like that, you don't really see that much nowadays. It's mainly like 3 seasons, 8 to 10 episodes each, 20 to 30 minutes. There's a reduction in, and kind of like a, I don't know, distillation maybe, in all of the practices. But hey, I'm not complaining. House has been interesting so far. It's like sometimes such a freaking weird show that I'm like, how is this, like, who came up with this, essentially? Some of the episodes, without delving into spoilers or whatever, it's like convoluted, far-fetched, and kind of radical at times. And those are all compliments, by the way. So it's, yeah, like, it's just quite funny. And I did understand how people were saying it can be formulaic, considering the fact that it follows a lot of the same story beats episode to episode. But for someone like me, that's not necessarily a negative. Like, I don't mind settling into like a comfortable formula if it's freshened up once in a while, which I think House is good at doing, especially towards like the end of the seasons. The season finale is always pretty like, what the fuck? So, you know, it's like, it's good. There's so much of it as well. So it's like a great show to just put on, just like in the background, or, you know, just like as a tradition slash ritual. And so anyway, I've not seen Community, but I've heard it's kind of, it's as similar to, what is it, Parks and Rec maybe like The Office, kind of in that same genre, or maybe Arrested Development, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. So that's a compliment. If someone says, oh, it's a bit like Arrested Development, I'm like, okay, that means I have to watch it. But so far, it's like a lot of things just stuck on my to watch list. I feel so bad. You know, it's like there's a limited amount of time in the day, but still, it's like a lot of that time has been squandered personally, doing completely random things. Sometimes I couldn't even tell you what. It's just like, damn, did I really just spend fucking 5 hours on YouTube Shorts? It's appalling. That's just terrible. And so, yeah, I'm trying to be a bit better about that. Because when it comes to like shows and stuff like that, I feel like besides the entertainment value that it provides, it serves a kind of social function too. Like when you are making small talk with people, if you're meeting them for the first time, or even like, you know, just trying to have a casual conversation with a friend, it's a lot easier to kind of, I don't know, start with something like, oh, have you seen this show? And talk about that for a while instead of just delving right into the heavy hitters, you know? So there's like social function in keeping up to date with the kind of goings on in culture, keeping your fingers on the pulse, as they say. And so for me, I'm catching up. I'm doing a lot of catching up because it's not a flex for me to be like, oh, I haven't seen Game of Thrones. I haven't seen it. Because it's like, oh, you're so cool. You think you're so cool. It's like, no, I'm really not. It's just it just never happened, I guess. And so now, well, is it too late? I'm not sure. But I still have so much else to kind of look into that you kind of need to get a bit choosy. And so, yeah, that's the predicament, the ever-present predicament where it's like so much to watch, so little time, and then apply that to like any other form of media too. Books, even like albums and stuff like that. You know, the Grammys were just on. I was like, damn, I know a lot of these artists, but I also have no idea who some of these people are. And that's like, it's interesting. So sometimes I feel a bit out of the loop. But anyway, you know how it is. New levels, new devils. It's such a funny line. I can't remember where I got it from, but I heard someone say it. Was it in a song? No. I just heard someone say it offhandedly and I was like, yoink, I'm taking that. So whoever said it, I apologize. If I remember, if I find you, I'll give you credit. But right now, I've just yoinked it shamelessly. So yeah, that's kind of the topic for today. And I want to hear from you guys. Like if you have similar things going on, new challenges, ascending to new heights, maybe promotions, or just like in general, working on your own personal stuff, health, any kind of like, what's the word? New Year's resolution stuff that people are working on. It's good to like check in every now and then to keep on track. So like for me, for example, getting back into the gym, oh my God, I'm starting real easy, like real easy. Just treadmill right now. Half an hour treadmill. That's literally the bare minimum essentially. But it's nice. It feels like, okay, I remember this. I remember the many, many days, many hours spent sweating at the gym, just like trying not to look at the little timer. It's like, damn, only 5 minutes have passed. And then kind of feeling better afterwards, even if during and before it's like such a drag, you know? It's funnily enough, it's kind of similar to what it feels like to write sometimes. That phrase of like, writers hate writing, but they love having written. Sometimes that can be applied, I think, to stuff like the gym or other disciplines that we all know are good for us, but we kind of sometimes slip up on doing. So that's not to say that it doesn't feel good in the moment. I definitely do get that kind of, not the runner's high. Maybe I've gotten that once or twice in my entire lifetime, but like that feeling, that rush of endorphins in the middle of a gym sesh, or even in the middle of a writing session. It's like, damn, I'm in the zone right now, you know? But yeah, you kind of have to, I don't know, work towards that in a sense. Get yourself in a place where you can even appreciate it. And so that's always the trickiest part. If you, at least for me, I can only speak for myself. If I don't do it for a while, either one, like, I'm like, damn, I kind of have to remember this rhythm. Like the feeling of being uncomfortable for a hot minute, whether it's bodily uncomfortable, as in running or exerting your muscles, or just like that idea of writer's block, trying to physically overcome that, staring at a blank page and being like, okay, I can do this. I've done it before. It just takes locking TF in. That's really all it boils down to. So yeah, it's funny. I find it fascinating how many disciplines can be quite connected, and even past the most obvious connections. Like, oh yeah, they both take repetitive kind of practice. They both take dedication and locking in. Even more than that, like down to some of the same bodily feelings, right? The discomfort or like the euphoria in quotation marks afterwards. You know, it's like it's kind of interesting, and I feel like that could be even more broadly applied, but I'm not smart enough to put it all together, like the puzzle pieces. I'm just sure there's something there. It's a bit like yeah, a big fucking corkboard with like red string tied to many different little sections. But anyway, what have you guys been up to? Oh, Sterlo, thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate it, my friend. It's been a hot minute. Now, hopefully you guys can hear that, because again, my audio is kind of fucked. Let me shout you out. How was your stream? Was it fantastic? Super spondiferous? And guys, go chuck Sterlo a follow. An absolute legend that I've had the pleasure of meeting in real life. And yeah, it's always nice to like support fellow Aussie creators. It's like a real pleasure. So of course, raid and run, raid and fade, do what you gotta do. I appreciate you very much, my friend. Let me see. Zach's starting up a D&D campaign. That's freaking cool. One of my friends, you guys have met him actually on stream, Alex, he said he recently started a campaign with some of his friends, and I was like, damn, that sounds like fun. I've never done anything like that, but it seems right up my alley, considering I'm into creative writing and like, you know, these kinds of big, what's the word? Almost like world building games. So that's cool. Let me know how it goes. But yeah, Beaver Logic studies math. That's so cool. You must be quite a clever cookie. And yeah, it's funny you mention it, because I think a lot of times people assume that something like mathematics and then creativity are on opposite ends of the spectrum, but I don't think that's true at all. There's a lot of creativity in maths and vice versa, you know? And it's like, it takes some level of, I don't know what the word is without sounding incredibly wankerish, but there's some level of like metacognition that you can apply to those disciplines and find these bigger patterns that you're talking about. And you know, I'm not too mathematically competent, shall we say. I did high school maths and that was enough for me. But I've always found there to be almost a kind of poetry in like, you know, in the formulas, in how you can express a kind of thought, how you can, like, you know, almost tell a story. And it's fascinating. These patterns that sometimes I feel like I sound like a total crazy conspiracy theorist trying to talk about and trying to explain. But it's nice when people kind of pick up what you're putting down, even if in my case, a lot of the time, it takes me a while to find the point of what I'm trying to say. It's in there. It just takes a bit of unraveling. And so I hope you guys get what I mean. But yeah, it's interesting. And you know what's something I was actually thinking about recently, like today recently? There's something about the philosophy of like concision, which is like to make something as concise as possible, that's in mathematics, that I think is really fucking helpful to learn as a skill, in terms of like simplifying processes and stuff like that. If you can explain a thought, a feeling, a philosophy, whatever it is, in terms that like a child, for instance, could understand, it really does signify a really deep understanding of that topic. And I think maths kind of pushes you or like teaches you that skill, or at least how to practice that skill. And so, yeah, it's like, it's quite interesting. And for me, something that I want to work on, right? I don't think I'm very concise. And in my writing, I try to use that to my advantage. I basically, for a first draft, I do like a word vomit, thousands of words without really cleaning anything up or editing. And then it's only in the next few iterations of whatever it is I'm working on that I kind of do huge like cuts and edits and just chuck out whatever's not working. But when it comes to like talking to people, right? Like communicating, sometimes that's not always the best method, right? Unless you are in kind of some like iterative form of communication that would benefit from that style. In general, I think the ability to be concise and to have a real like depth of clarity and meaning in what you're saying can be very, very helpful, very influential, very fucking powerful. And so, I don't think I've anywhere near mastered that. And in fact, it's quite frustrating at times because I'm like, I can't find the word that I'm trying to say or the phrasing that I'm trying to use. And so I have to work at it. It feels like actual physical work. I think other people, whether natural or like trained, the people that have the ability to be really fucking laser precise about what they're trying to say and invite you into their perspective with a real kind of ease, like that is really, really powerful. And so, I don't know, it's something that is a little bit ineffable, which means hard to describe. And it's certainly something that I should not or could not even give any like tips and tricks on. But I always seem to, kind of gravitate and admire like those kinds of people, gravitate towards, I mean. And it's a freaking handy skill, I'll tell you that for sure. So I see that in maths is what I'm trying to say. And I don't know, I don't think the subjects like, more sciencey subjects and the more creative or humanities subjects are as far apart as people think. Like, it's really, as hippie as it is to say, they're all fucking connected. There's like things that you can take from each one to help bolster the other, right? And so whenever I feel like I have particular deficits in one category, sometimes you have to step outside that category to see what you're missing, in a sense. And that's been interesting to like put into practice, essentially, I have a lot of admiration for my more science-minded friends. They have such an interesting way of looking at the world. And if I can be so generalizing, they can be quite pragmatic as well, which for someone like me is, it's helpful. I can be kind of idealistic sometimes, which I'm sure is no surprise to you. And as fun and sometimes, interesting as that can be, and as nice as it is to experience, sometimes that equates to not really getting shit done that needs to be done. And to have like friends and even family members who have that more pragmatic getting shit done side, the blend is really like chef's kiss type beat. Because then you have the ideas, you have the big picture, but then you also have like the dedication, the drive, and kind of like the analytical side of things to actually put it into motion. And so that can be really fucking, what's the word besides helpful? It can be really special, maybe? I don't know. Because I'm not trying to boil disciplines down to their utility. I don't think that's a very nourishing way to look at it. But more in terms of like what they can like do for each other, if that makes sense. I also think that hopefully, the more creative or humanity minded people can also offer up something to the more scientific minded people that involves, maybe some kind of appreciation for like aesthetics, beauty, the arts, etc. And we help each other, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Is that the saying? But yeah. And I do agree. Like, I don't think meaning always has to be precise. And I think a lot of what I like about experimental art, and maybe experimental poetry in particular, is that it revolts against the idea of meaning having to be clear-cut, straightforward, and kind of handed to you on a silver platter. And a lot of people seem to hate that exact same thing about like a lot of modern and experimental art. They're like, I don't understand this, therefore it must be shit. Or therefore it must have no value, right? But just because something has maybe a more obscure or hard to reach meaning doesn't mean that it has no meaning. Or even if it has no meaning, that doesn't mean it has no value. And so that's kind of important distinctions that maybe sometimes get all mixed together. But like, for instance, let me think. I could pull up an example of my own, but I'm going to try and be less egotistical right now and just talk in general terms. Like, in terms of like modern / abstract / experimental art, it's kind of like, it's a litmus test for how much maybe discomfort someone is willing to endure before they decide, nah, fuck it, this is just bullshit, right? Like looking at totally blank canvas at an art gallery and being like, what does this mean? It's just like nothing. I could have done that, right? I think a lot of the time that argument gets raised and it's like, yeah, but you didn't, right? The art is about more than what you're just seeing, but it's also about the entire process from start to finish. And of course, the even after the finish, so to speak, the experience of kind of letting it affect you or not affect you. But even being annoyed by a piece of art is some kind of like, emotional effect being done onto you. And so, yeah, it's quite funny. And you see that sometimes with poetry as well, where people are like, what does this mean? It literally is like gibberish to me, right? But I like to say that, you get out what you put in, essentially. I found that with some of the more obscure poems that I don't quite understand on a first reading, the longer I sit with it and the more that I kind of try to poke at it and like unfold it, the more that it reveals to me. And that's like, it's a give and take, essentially. You have to be willing to do the work to reap the rewards. And a lot of the time people just don't want to do that work, which, is fair enough. But yeah, anyway, it's interesting. And so, yeah, I do quite like a lot of not heavily disliked pieces of art, but I think I have more of a leniency when it comes to what art actually can be, and the types of art that have value. Honestly, I feel like I'm basically, yeah, as lenient as you can be. Because I think personally, if you can make the argument for why something is art and it's compelling enough, then that makes it so, essentially. Like I could say this water bottle is art, and my job then is essentially to make an argument strong enough to convince someone. And if I convince someone, then it's art. You know what I mean? It's not decided by basically anything else. Because if it was, then like, what the fuck? It would be to basically admit that art is like objective. And I don't think that's the case. There are maybe techniques that can be objectively like used to varying levels of competency. But does technique make art better? I don't know. I don't think so. It's about something a little bit more, again, like we were talking about before, like meta than that. So, yeah. Anyway, does that make sense? I hope so. Zach, you're heading off to bed. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful restorative sleep. We'll be here for a while. But yeah, in terms of the meta levels, I'm definitely not the most well-read. I sometimes have a hard time grasping, like, the kind of meta of certain philosophies and disciplines. But when it comes to, like, writing about writing, for instance, that's meta. To do the thing itself, like talking about talking or thinking about thinking. That stuff I feel very drawn to for some reason. Then past that, it tends to get a little bit airy and like kind of hugely cerebral in a way that's not entirely accessible to me. They can be quite humorous, I can definitely see that. But I think there's something helpful in there to recognize, because a lot of the time, for me at least, the most fascinating thing about a piece of art isn't necessarily the most obvious. Like when you watch a movie, for instance, it's less about the actual movie and more about like what it can symbolize, etc., etc. And so, yeah, the bananas taped to walls, that type of thing. It's interesting because it's like less about the banana, less about the wall and the tape, and more about what it's saying, like about, I guess, to sound like an English literature teacher, society. What does it mean if you can sell a banana taped to a wall for like however much it was? Was it like $1 million or something like that? Like, what does that say about the state of the world? See, that's kind of the meta discussions. And sometimes it can be quite tragic or a little bit disheartening to think about, like, yeah, there are people out there who are suffering from a lack of meeting their material needs. There's war, there's terror, there's poverty. And yet here we are, it all kind of starts to crumble, right? This very delicate, like, house of cards that we've made for ourselves. And it does start to seem quite humorous, right? like it seems like a farce essentially, which is like, how do I explain that? Like something silly and contrived, because it is, right? And I think stuff like that really highlights it, because it's like, what the fuck are we doing, right? How can a banana taped to a wall sell for a couple $1,000,000? And yes, he ate the banana as well. It's like we start talking about something other than what we're actually seeing with our eyes, etc., and it becomes more broadly applicable to, I guess, certain socio-political issues. But again, I'm not too well read about that type of thing. I did one political class when I was in university, and I felt like the dumbest person in the room every single time I was in that class. People were talking about things that I'd never heard of before, and I was like, oh yeah, that the tension in like the Mesopotamian. It's like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? It's like I have a deep like respect for politics, the people that are fighting the good fight, depending on where you stand on that. I think it's quite obvious that I'm pretty politically progressive, but it's like it's a fucking cutthroat blood sports type of arena to be in, right? And it's complicated essentially. That's really what it boils down to. And so I like to think about it in terms of axioms, which you guys have heard a million times now, right? Like, be good to one another. The golden rule: do unto others as you would like have done unto you, type beat. Because otherwise, yeah, it's just easy to, I don't know, lose sight of what's actually important. And in politics, it's just so warped and twisted right now, isn't it? Things are all over the place. And like I said, it's crazy to see the disparity playing out in real time. The tremendous amount of suffering paired with like the tremendous amount of excess, as kind of, shown by certain people. It's a whole thing. But anyway, I'm not no sociologist, so take everything that I say with a grain of salt. Yeah, farce is multiple farts. That's right. That's very, very true, actually. Oh, God. Honestly, that's a good way to describe it. A farce is something like silly, nonsensical, contrived, and yeah, it gets across the heart of the word very astutely. But yeah, Jared, welcome in. Riku, welcome in. I hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, I don't like, this is not a political channel, just so you guys know. Not for any other reason besides the fact that I'm not well equipped enough to speak on those topics with any real like authority, right? And plus there are other like people on Twitch that do like politics and all that stuff way better than I ever could. But that doesn't mean that I'm not in my like personal life, etc., like politically engaged / informed, right? I think everyone should be in a way. But yeah, it's like it's the Wild West out there, and it can be quite cutthroat. So yeah, just so you guys know. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. I hope you don't regret it. Oh gosh, I'll see you around, streaming every second day. So not tomorrow, but the day after. But yeah. Chad, welcome in. You look pretty today. Why? That's so funny. I don't know why. Thank you, I think. I had to do something about my face, because like after the gym, I was just like, what's that feeling? It's like, and I was like, you know what? Let's do a quick little beat. So here we are. And guys, if you're feeling like stretching with me, please do. Thank you for the stretch. And even though we just started, it's nice to, kind of get the body moving after sitting down for a little while. I sometimes forget. I'm going to try not to freak you guys out, but look, I can overextend my arm so it looks a bit like it's broken. I swear it's not broken. My sister is double jointed, and so she can like step through the closed loop of her arms and bring them all the way back around over her head. It's terrifying. It's literally like out of a horror movie. So, but I'm pretty sure that's not good for you. So I don't do it. I think I was only ever able to do it once, And I hope she doesn't do it anymore either, because even though it's like a fun party trick, it's like not worth damaging like your tendons, etc. So yeah, I think it's like a type of hypermobility, like hyperflexibility. I don't seem to have it in many other places. Like in some people have it in their fingers where they can overextend like all the way back, kind of, or in their knees. For me, it's like my arms mostly. It goes. You can't even really see it in on the camera, but like that should not be like that. It should be straight. Anyway, the Emmy gains. There's not much to show for myself right now, but hopefully in the future, I'll be showing you guys some fucking, you know, some big guns. Some really big guns. Right now, it's a little bit worse for wear. Anyway, Marnez, what have you been up to? Have you been still streaming? One day, I'd like to raid you. But I don't think we have like the same kind of schedule, like the schedule that would allow for that, which sucks. I felt that way about a lot of streamer friends. I'm like, damn, we're just like streaming at the completely wrong time to make this work. So don't worry, I'll get you at some point. I'm ready for Emmy to put her enemies in a chokehold. That's hilarious. Don't worry, guys. I'm a lover, not a fighter. You know that. I guess you could still put someone in a chokehold, though. That's funny. If you guys want to see the full fit, by the way, it's really not that exciting past the shirt. But black pants. Black, like, kind of harem pants, which I think used to be my auntie's. But now they're mine, baby. They're all mine. And they're like my favorite pants for lounging about the house because they're so airy and comfortable, which is perfect for this weather. You have been streaming? That's cool. Your work schedule has been hectic. Yes, that is very relatable, or at least when I was working, I totally understand. It's like, damn, I feel like I have a literal energy bar, like in games where you have only a set amount of energy to use, and once it's gone, you just have to call it a day. That's how I feel. And so it's yeah, it's a little bit like having to ration out portions of energy so you can have a little bit of time for everything. But yeah, I hope you find an amenable balance as soon as possible. Saki, welcome in. I hope you're well. How are you doing, my friend? Tell me a little bit about you. We're getting up close and personal today, you know? I spend so much of my time talking about myself here, as is kind of the nature of streaming. But I want to know about you guys. Tell me about your lives, you know? I feel like I want to... What's the word? I don't know if even the playing field is the right phrase, but something along those lines. You're good, Saki. That's wonderful. Is that how you pronounce your username? It sounds a bit like, I know it's spelled differently, like the drink, sake. Very cool. Plans for this weekend? Oh, that's a good question. I actually, this is not for this weekend, but next Wednesday I'm going to see an Elvis show. Not the actual guy, unfortunately, but kind of like a tribute artist. And yeah, I'll be kind of catching up with a friend that I'd made at the Elvis Festival earlier this year. So yeah, it's going to be really fun, and I wish I could take all you guys with me. But yeah, hopefully the recount and some of the pictures will have to suffice. But yeah, on the weekend, maybe just like really boring stuff like cleaning. Because, well, you guys can't see it, but there's a whole lot of clothes that are just on the chair next to me. Oh. My gosh. What? I don't know what just happened. So the kind of, it's like not a floor drobe exactly, because it's not on the floor, but it's like a chair drobe, and I need to get that sorted. So, I need Emmy to belt out Heartbreak Hotel. Don't tempt me. I fucking love that song. Well, since my baby left me. Okay. That's funny. So yeah, just like cleaning. You know how sometimes things just build up. I need to vacuum, but the thing is I need to vacuum like every fucking day. Guys, I'm going to actually start ranting right now if I start talking about this. Because, like, I talk about my hair so much. I brush my hair, like, every day. Have showers, like, every second day, essentially. I don't always wash my hair every second day. Sometimes I have it in a shower cap. But, just, like, for the purposes of this discussion, like, I shed so much hair that it's actually like owning a cat or some kind of furry creature that just, like, drops hairs around the entire house. And I'm like, how is this possible? Like, full on hairballs, right? And so if I don't vacuum, like, every day, it just builds up. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was literally doing this exact same thing yesterday. How is it built up again? And so, yeah, I don't know. That's just one of the gripes that I have. And even though I have a decent kind of vacuum, it's a Dyson? Pretty sure it's a Dyson. It's like, yeah, it's just a bit finicky and sometimes it'll just stop working randomly. And so vacuuming is weird because I have a love-hate relationship with it. It's kind of satisfying when you, like, go over something with the vacuum and it just, like, sucks up all the dust and all the hairs and stuff. But then having to do it so often and seeing the grime build up is not fun. And, like, it's yeah, it's a whole thing. And yes, of course, the laundry. Laundry builds up like crazy. For me, I try and be what's the word? Like, I try not to go too crazy with the laundry because, I want to be conserving the amount of washes that I need to do out of sheer laziness more than anything. But still, it builds up, especially with towels. Because I like to, when I shower, I like to have at least 2 towels, as in one on the floor to protect, not the floor of the shower, but the floor outside the shower to, like, stop the drips from getting everywhere. And then, like, one, usually, funnily enough, like, slung over the shower wall, which I don't know if other people do that, but I've done that since I was a kid. And it's just like, once you're done, you just pull it down and just, like, put it on. But yeah, so the towels, I end up having laundry mostly of towels and then kind of just, like, intimates, if you want to call it that, or whatever. Obviously, you're changing them most often than every other piece of clothing. And so it's like, oh, this again. It's like Sisyphus rolling that rock up the hill. It's like, god damn, how am I here folding towels again? Anyway, that's so fucking, yeah, besides the point. My answer basically to what I'm doing this weekend is very boring things. So one of those days will be streaming, so that will be the bright spot in my life, essentially, because I can't spend an entire weekend vacuuming. I will actually lose my mind. Anyway, let's talk about Elvis. You're so right, Deke. If I saw the actual Elvis, there would be a whole host of issues. I'd have to call the Ghostbusters. You're absolutely right. Still, though, not like the actual zombified Elvis, but the kind of his resting place in Graceland, in the kind of meditation garden, is on the top of my to visit / to do lists, because I feel like to go there would be a total honor. I think I would instantly start crying my eyes out the second I just stepped into Graceland, because it's such a, like, momentous thing in my mind. But that is a little bit of a pipe dream as it stands, because, I live here in Australia, g'day mate type beat, and of course Graceland is in the US, so it's quite a trek, you have to book flights, accommodation, and, the Australian dollar is quite a bit weaker than the US dollar, so whatever it is, like whatever it costs in US, basically have to double it in Australian money, essentially, the monopoly money that we call Australian money. And so it's the kind of thing that I want to do at least once, and I'd probably have to drag my auntie with me, or not even drag, she'd, like, be begging to go. But it's like the kind of thing that if I wanted to do, I'd have to do it fucking right, and that includes, like, the whole shebang. And so, yes, I'm very jealous that you could drive there right now, CJ. Seriously. Like, the fact that people are, like, a car's length away is mind-boggling to me. And so, yeah, Graceland is at the top of my list. And weirdly enough, I don't know how you guys feel about this. I know Marilyn Monroe, she's, much discussed, kind of much disturbed, even after her death, like, as in people kind of messing with her image and all that stuff. But I would like to see where Marilyn Monroe is resting right now. I think she's, was she cremated? I'm not sure. I can't actually remember, but I'd like to see her resting place and just, like, pay my respects to such an icon, which of course is in the US as well. And then this is someone in the UK, maybe in Paris. I'd also like to visit the grave of Oscar Wilde. So those are like the top places I'd want to go. Like it's so meaningful to me in ways that might even surpass the Elvis one. But if I had to really judge, they'd be like pretty even. Like, because Oscar Wilde is obviously such a huge influence in my work and in my life. You know, he's one of the OG decadent writers and decadent philosophers, which is something we talk about a lot here. And the story of his life and how he was kind of exiled for his, you know, what is it called? Like deplorable activities, aka just being gay, and how he thought that his work would never be remembered and that he'd always be known as this kind of like awful degenerate, essentially. He would never have even realized how loved after death he really was slash is. So much so that they actually had to erect a glass cube essentially around his grave because the stone of his like tomb was eroding with the amount of lipstick kisses that were being put onto it by people visiting and paying their respects. So it's a crazy fucking story. It doesn't mean much to people that don't really care about like his work or like, you know, the story of his life. But I've been heavily influenced by a lot of his stuff, especially like, you know, his play, Salome, and some of his poetry as well, of course. So it's like, yeah, it's a kind of thing that I would love to visit. And I think he's either in the UK, his resting place, or in Paris. I can't quite remember. But yeah, that's of course another trek as well. So it's happening at some point. We'll have to see. Traveling fund when is the question. So yeah. And yeah, you're right, Hillbilly Simmer. It's in the middle of the US if we're talking about Elvis, etc. Like, which I'm not sure if that makes it less accessible or more accessible, but certainly in terms of like flights and like just getting there in general, it's more involved, I would imagine. So yeah. And yeah, the Australian dollar is a lot weaker than the American dollar. It's not quite perfect, this translation, but it's almost essentially double, like the American dollar. So like if something costs 20 US dollars, you're probably going to look at like 40 something Australian dollars. And so, yeah, it is what it is, I suppose. And also, I should say, when it comes to streaming, actually, it can sometimes be beneficial. Like, it's not lost to me that the incredible, generous support that you guys have shown here, a lot of the time, since you guys are from, like, all over the place, but a lot of you are from, like, the US and, like, international waters, if you donate, like, $5-10, that means, like, a hell of a lot more to me in AUD. And so it's a kind of thing that I feel I can't really complain about because it's, yeah, it goes both ways, I suppose. And so thank you guys. You know, a lot of you don't realize how much it really does mean because it goes quite a long way here. Like when people donate for the various funds that we've had and even when people subscribe and stuff, it's like a very, yeah, it's a very meaningful gesture. It's not at all lost to me. So, yeah. If you come to the US, try to see either Yellowstone Park or the Grand Canyon. I'm told they're spectacular to see. Yeah, I feel like some of the natural landmarks are absolutely on that list, the to visit list. They're spectacular. They're like, what's the word? Kind of like sublime, you know? There's that word that we use sometimes kind of in writing circles or like philosophy circles. The sublime is something that's just like almost larger than life in terms of how awe-inspiring it is. And so, yeah, often you hear it described like, you know, like natural disasters or like kind of natural landmarks described as sublime, but I can definitely see that for some of like the parks and, yeah, some of the mountain ranges and stuff. So, yeah, it's definitely on my list. Don't you guys worry. If I ever went, I would, of course, take you guys with me, show you around. Maybe by then I'd have more of a grasp on like IRL streaming and how it all works because I'd want to show you guys some of the cool sites and stuff like that. But yeah, and I get too wistful about it. I'm just like, oh, wouldn't it be nice? And I get lost in my own daydreams. But yeah, yeah, if any of you like Americans decide to come to Oz, yeah, it's basically like having double the money. So you kind of live like a king for a little bit while you're here. And so I'm sure like people in Australia also feel the same way when they visit places like Bali and yeah, some of the more developing nations, which of course, you know, can have its own issues. But yeah, it's quite fascinating how it works. And sometimes depending on like the news cycle, the stock market, all those, important adult stuff, it'll like fluctuate. And so the Australian dollar is like less weak than it usually is. And yeah, they can really add up, those fluctuations. I'm not sure what it is right now. But in general, I think the US dollar is one of the strongest. I'm pretty sure that's right. Maybe the UK pound as well. Sublime is also a pretty good band too. Is that right? Huh. I didn't actually know that, but it's a great word as well. Like, it's almost sublime to say, right? Sublime. It just falls out of your mouth. It's a very fascinating topic though, in terms of like the philosophy. It's like when you're standing on a cliff and looking out at the ocean, like that's what the sublime is, right? It's massive, larger than life, hard to describe what you're looking at. It's vast, right? It's almost like a reminder of how powerful Mother Nature can be. That's how it was kind of described to me when I was in school. And so when you apply that to like pieces of art or like even writing and stuff like that, writing about topics that are larger than life, that are kind of powerful and kind of, yeah, human equals insignificant type beat. So yeah, it's great though, a little bit existential crisis inducing. Oh gosh, yeah, Emmy travels for us, exactly right. Oh gosh. And CJ, like I totally relate to going down like a Google Maps rabbit hole. The streets of Brisbane, that's a good place to kind of check out. I'm sure Rainbolts would agree. You could find like literally a single pixel and be like, yep, that's Brisbane. Anyway, it's nice to just like, I don't know, almost virtually travel in a sense, and to kind of see what life would be like in maybe an alternate dimension if you happen to be born in a totally different country, for example. For me, I've thought about it a little bit, not too thoroughly, maybe trying to avoid that existential crisis. But if I were to really ask myself, like, oh, where would I choose to live if I could have been like born anywhere? Honestly, as cheesy as it sounds, I think Australia would be the place. And of course, Australia has its own issues that I would be happy to go on and on about, right? But it's ultimately an incredible country with all the right stuff for like, I don't know, making Emmy happy essentially. And what I mean by that is like being close to the beach, the weather when it cooperates, the kind of melting pot of cultures, and yeah, the policies that have been increasingly a little bit questionable. But in general, we have a decent enough kind of healthcare system and stuff like that. Various like social security safety nets. It's not as like fend for yourself as it is in America, though it is kind of getting that way. But certainly not as subsidized as places like in Scandinavia, for example. But like Australia, I still call Australia home type beat. And it's funny because like, I guess if you want to go down like the ethnic path, like I'm half Greek, half Egyptian, like ethnically, nationality wise. But there's a reason why I say like 50% Greek, 50% Egyptian, 100% Aussie. Because like, being born here and stuff like that, it's all I've ever known, essentially. My accent is Australian, as elusive as sometimes it can be. People are like, where are you from? And, the culture that I grew up around is just like totally Australian, for better or for worse, because, I don't really speak Greek or Arabic as much as my parents may have wanted me to learn. And so if I could have chosen anywhere, I think I still would have picked here. It's a pretty nice place to be, especially the little slice of Australia that I'm actually in. I won't get too specific about it, of course, but it's like, it's a pretty damn good place to be. And so, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a privileged thing to be even able to say that. And so I'm trying to make the most of that privilege as opposed to like squandering it or not appreciating it, if that makes sense, which is, the last thing I'd ever want to do, to be like kind of ungrateful or a spoiled brat, even though maybe I have my moments. I don't know. But yeah, traveling is still very high on my list of desires. The only thing is like, it's pricey, and it's an upset in terms of almost everything. Like in terms of scheduling, in terms of like, work, family stuff. Like my family was planning to travel this year, kind of at this time actually, maybe actually next month, but we had to like cancel all of our plans because, you know, my grandma's ill right now. We didn't want to be overseas, like fucking miles and miles away when we got some potentially bad, very bad news. So it's like one of those things, you know? And I've also never gone on a plane trip longer than like 4 or 5 hours. So I wondered what it would be like to go like across the globe, like 17 hours or so. I might just actually lose my mind or try and sleep through most of it. Um, yeah, it's interesting. The longest, like I've been on two cruises in my life. They were like 2 weeks each, essentially. And for some reason, I don't know, they do their best to make it seem like you're not traveling. You know, you're basically on a floating city. It doesn't feel like you're on a boat, if that makes sense. And so you don't get that same feeling, funnily enough, of like claustrophobia or like wanting to be on dry land, I suppose. Even though I definitely was happy to be back home after both of those cruises. I kind of developed a little bit of sea legs, actually, where the ground seemed to be swaying, even when I was just standing in one place. Um, and so, but yeah, like a lot of, I guess, from the two I've been on, the cruises, the cruise lines do a good job of making it seem like you're not really on a big fucking ship. It's like, oh yeah, this is actually just like a hotel or a shopping center. When you're in, especially if you can't see outside, it feels like you're not moving at all, which is quite interesting. Unless it's very turbulent, then yeah, the seasickness arises. But anyway, yeah, Southeast Asia, fuck, 18 hours. Holy shit, 4 flights. It's a lot. I feel like, you know, definitely worth it. Of course, worth it, but it's so, yeah. How would I even begin to describe it? Like, I don't know. A necessary evil, I suppose. But yeah, we're talking about travel in general. I've been to Tasmania once. It was actually, believe it or not, I swear this is 100% true. I won a kind of like a school competition where I think the university, this is how I think it went down. The University of Tasmania was trying to recruit new university students because, you know, they're quite a small little island and I'm sure they were just trying to grab some people from the mainland, as they call it. So they created this competition where, like, if you answered a couple of questions, you could get like a free, entirely free, all expenses paid trip to go to Tasmania for like, I think it was a couple of days. And of course, because these were like high school kids at the time, you could bring like a +1, which was my mum. And so I answered the questions. My answers were kind of not that astounding or, you know, extraordinary by any means. I think one of the questions was like, why do you want to win this? And I said something like, oh, it would be a real honor. And like, you know, I just kind of like said something quite basic. And I was like, I got this letter. It was like, oh, you won. We're going to take you with a bunch of other students to like just check out the university and go on a couple of like excursions and stuff. And that was fascinating. Like, I was like, damn, that's cool. I didn't even know that type of stuff was actually real, like winning those big competitions. And so I got to go with my mum. She got to do, I think, more of the fun stuff. She and like the other parents or chaperones got to go to like the Museum of Modern Art, and they got to go to like all these kind of more adult activities, while I went with the rest of the students to like school stuff, right? But still, it was fun, and I can't complain when it was all paid for. The hotel was beautiful. The weather, cold, which makes sense. Tasmania is so close to the fucking South Pole, right? So it's like just Arctic fucking winds, or Antarctic, whichever one it is. And so it was very, very cold. There was one portion of the trip where we got like a boat ride. We got to go on a boat ride, like just around one of the bays or whatever. And I felt like my nose was actually going to fall off. Like it was like an icicle, essentially. We came prepared as prepared as we could with like the kind of cold weather gear, but still nothing was enough for the cold Tassie weather, especially when you're in a boat and like the wind is rushing you. And so I can't remember exactly when. It would probably be early in the year because yeah, they were trying to recruit people to go to the university. And it was close to the Museum of Modern Art because I remember it not being too far away from our hotel. So I don't know if that's helpful, but yeah, it was like a very funny experience to be like, oh my God, I don't think I've ever been this cold before. And that's coming from someone who lives in like Victoria, the 4 seasons slash 5 seasons in one day, where yeah, it can be raining and then sunny and then snowy and then, well, not snowy, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I think it was Hobart, something like that. Um, yeah, I thought Tasmania would have been hotter as well, but I think because it is just so close to the fucking bottom of the world, it was just like it was really cold, especially in like the more like open ocean facing areas. And so, yeah, that was interesting. I'm pretty sure I have photos and stuff. If I find those photos, I could ask my mom and be like, Dad, do you remember that? She went to MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. Or was it MoFo? There was one funny sounding gallery that she went to that the students did not get to go to because we were like studying the fucking aquarium center or whatever, which was still fun, don't get me wrong. And I remember she showed me this photo of this like this waterfall, right, that they'd installed that could like stop the water at specific times, so it like spelled out words. And so like they were saying like they were spelling out words like sometimes expletives like fuck and all that stuff, and just like a text like a book, right, that was just playing on this waterfall. And I was like, that's so freaking cool. I wish I could have seen that with my own eyes, but at least we have like the photos and the video and stuff. And so there was also like some night markets which were really really cool. But all of it, literally from start to finish, was fully paid for, and I'd never experienced anything like that before. We had this big dinner with all the people that had won. I think it was a full plane of people. So like, I don't know, like maybe 1 to 200 people that actually won. Like 100 people that won, and then like their chaperones. So it was like a pretty big operation. I don't know how many people the university actually converted. But yeah, I guess I don't know. They were either doing it because it had worked in the past, or they were trying it out for the first time. And I wonder how it went for them. Like, did people actually move to Tasmania? Because it seems like a big change to go from like living and studying in the mainland to like literally just crossing the fucking ocean. I wonder how effective like their turnover rate was, as in like someone saw the beauty of Tassie and was like, you know what? Yeah, I think I will spend the next 4 years here. Trust me, it's pretty compelling once you're there. But yeah, very, very cold. That's what I noticed. Let's see. 4 or 5 hour trip would take you to the American West Coast. Oh yeah, or the most of the continent of Asia. That's so true. It's crazy, like the difference in like land size when it comes to some of the countries in Asia, but also in Europe and then Australia or like the US. Like in Europe, you could drive maybe a few hours and hit a few different countries, but here you're literally just still backing out of your fucking driveway, and that's the funny thing. Like road trips here are very different to road trips in like the in like Europe or even the US. Actually, the US is massive, but I think yeah, with all the different states, it's like maybe a bit more variety. Here in Australia, we have like 7 states, so massive states still. Let's make a stream IRL goal, Tasmania. Let's go to make a mini snowman. That's so funny. Honestly, I've never seen actual real snow, which, does that sound crazy? I'm not sure. Like, there was a couple times when I was younger with my siblings that we went to the mountains to see snow. Like, we took a family trip, essentially. But it's almost like, and please correct me, this is probably going to be only half right. It's like manufactured snow that they actually create out of like some, like, I don't know how they do it, but they actually make snow to put on the mountains because we don't really get snow here, especially not where I live, in a very not mountainous area. But you can drive like up and up to some of the more popular like mountain ranges, and then you get a little bit of snow, but it's nothing like what you see in like the fucking winter wonderlands of like the in America around Christmas time. Like I've never seen snow on my doorstep or anything like that. It sounds like a fantasy, honestly. Like does that happen? That can't be right. But yeah, it's quite funny. And I've never built a snowman. Like even when I went to see the snow with my siblings, the snow was like, I don't know, it was kind of gross. Like it was a very thin sheet and it was all muddy and dirty, it'd been trampled on. It wasn't like that fresh out the oven, the ice oven that you see when it's like perfect white and fluffy and soft. So yeah, It's one of my dreams as well. Maybe one day I'll get to see a real winter wonderland. But I think it would be very strange to be experiencing Christmas time in the snow. Because here in Australia, of course, we have Christmas in the summer. So it's like hot, beachy weather, late night outdoors type beat, trying to avoid the mosquitoes or mozzies as we call them. And so yeah, to think about like people across the globe that are having like a winter Christmas, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. But anyway, one day I think that we got to make that happen. Um, but yeah. As for the photos, I'll definitely get them out. I'm pretty sure my mum has them on her phone, and I can show you guys because it was quite a funny trip, you know, quite a weird, like almost out of a dream type of trip. Because I don't know, thinking back, how much it would have cost if we had just done it on our own, but I think it would have been worth a pretty penny. Because like they paid for the flights, the food, the hotel, and all the activities. So yeah, they didn't pay for like the free time that we got, of course. We didn't get any allowance, which I'm not complaining about. But yeah, anything that they wanted us to do, they paid for fully. And so that was like, damn, I'm being treated here. Like absolutely treated, you know. Nothing like that has ever really happened again. But to be fair, I haven't really entered any of those big competitions. So yeah, quite interesting, right? Um, Jerry, welcome in. I hope you're doing good, my friend. Right now, we're just chilling, shooting the shit with my co-host Pat Thick here. Um, Tim asks, "Has anyone asked you to be their Valentine yet?" Not yet, actually. I'm a little bit sad, but no, it's not like for another 2 weeks, right? Is it Feb 14th? I'm hoping a certain someone, or should I say, some 985, might ask me. Ugh, I just have to get him to be aware of my existence first. Oh Lord. Deek is in the Midwest, in the USA. It's about -7 degrees Celsius. You can have all the snow you want. That's hilarious. It's funny because like the grass is always greener, right? Because even like Cody, friend of the stream, who's in Canada, was saying like, "Damn, the snow is fucking crazy here. Like it's really high, as in like a lot of inches. Is that how you guys describe it? I don't know. And it's a pain to like kind of to shovel away or whatever." So it's like, yeah, but it's so pretty though. I feel like I'd love the crap out of it for like a day and then be like, all right, that's enough. Still though, I think everyone should experience it at least once. Oh, my camera. Guys, at least we haven't crashed. Let me reactivate this. Are we back? Please. Please. Okay, we're back. But yeah, it has been quite hot. Like, it's been obscenely fucking sweaty and uncomfortably so. But yeah, snow would be interesting. Yeah, there you are, Cody. Yeah, it's a pain. Fine for a day. After that, no way. I like that. But yeah, it's like it looks so damn pretty, you know, pristine white sheets of snow, and of course like snowflakes. Like I've never seen any of that in my entire life. I've never seen a snowflake. I've seen like fake snow on the ground, but that's about it. So yeah, I have seen hail, but I don't think that counts. Sometimes we get hail here, and it's just destructive and loud, which can be kind of nice. But yeah, you want to protect your cars in cases like that. But anyway, weather. I'm such a weatherhead. I know that's basic as hell, but it's kind of fun in a weird way to talk about the weather. It's endlessly like entertaining in the sense that it's always changing and you can like get differing opinions on it. People have their different preferred temperatures. So I stand with the weatherheads. But yeah. Yeah, Cody, that's okay. You can be in a lurky mood. I totally get that. Whatever mood you guys are in is the right one, I think. CJ says, I had the same feeling when I moved to the mountains. Beautiful at first, but after 3 years, I couldn't wait to not see high land in the distance. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, again, the grass is always greener, you know? I sometimes look at those very kind of hilly, mountainous areas and I'm like, oh, that would be a dream to just live like somewhere up in the hills. But then I imagine what it would be like functionally to kind of live there. And then I think, oh, actually, you know what? I'm all right. So, yeah. I guess the moral of the story is to just be grateful, for whatever you've got. Because it could always be better, but I think it could always be worse. It really could always be worse. So, yeah, that's quite funny. Also, it's weird how my volume is not working. As long as you guys can hear it, that's fine, but I'll have to change that between now and next stream. And yeah, I'm also sorry about how last stream we literally just could not go on. When I say could not, I mean it in the actual legitimate sense of the word. Like, my computer crashed twice, which, is bad enough. But then when I rebooted it, like, OBS just would not start. And so I was like, fuck, what can I do? I basically just had to throw in the towel and be like, okay, let's circle back to this, essentially. And so it was still fun to chat with you guys in the Discord. But yeah, it's really embarrassing because I don't know, it's unprofessional. And of course, like, all my equipment is set up with my computer. So even if I went into the voice mode, like the voice chatting mode, it'd be with my shitty, like, headphones, like these Apple headphones or whatever, which wouldn't be that great. So yeah, hopefully we don't have to do that again. So far, my computer's feeling hot, but it's yeah, it's holding on, at least for now. So I'm here on Twitch for the professional content. You know what I mean? It's like, it's embarrassing. I felt like such a beta. Is that the word? I keep forgetting which one's the bad one and which one's the good one. Because, like, when your computer crashes once, that's, like, annoying, but it happens. Twitch ain't Twitch if it ain't twitching type beat. But when it crashes twice, especially when you have, like, a kind of all-time high in terms of people, like, watching your stream, then it's just, like, cruel. And it's like, well, guess I'll go fuck myself then. You know what I mean? And so I was like, you know what? Let's just, let's reconvene. So, yeah. I know. It's not like the end of the world. But if I can avoid it, I'll do my best. Right now, what are we at? We're nearly at 2 hours, actually. Wow, that's crazy. Which is, I think, a good sign. I'm hoping. That being said, I literally only have, like, OBS open, Paint, which I'm going to close now, and, oh, my notepad. And, like, 2 Google Chrome tabs. So I'm really, like, minimizing the amount of work this thing has to do. But yeah, like, I don't want to be beholden to my computer. I'm not a computer simp. You know what I mean? It has to be beholden to me. So yeah. Eventually, it may come to the point where I just need to replace this good old workhorse of mine. But I'm going to try and delay the inevitable for as long as I can. So yeah. Emto, good night to you. Hope you have a beautiful, restful sleep. And thank you. I will enjoy the stream. It's been nice so far. Maybe now I can show you guys something cool that my mum actually made. You guys know me. You know how we're always cooking up stuff in the lab. When I say the lab, I mean literally just the my old bedroom, my old childhood bedroom that's now been reworked into my mum's office since I moved out. Always making stuff for the merch store, the poetic shop, as we called it. And so sometimes we just mess around and we're like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we made X, Y, Z? This time, I think we've really outdone ourselves. Or should I say my mum has outdone herself, because I didn't really have much of a hand in this, but I got to reap the rewards anyway. And so let me tell you and show you what I mean. So you know how we've got some apparel online? You'll see it more in detail when I do my little website plug. But we have hoodies, we have shirts, and they're pretty what's the word? Hopefully, aesthetically pleasing. But this has to be probably the most aesthetically pleasing shirt so far. And I hope you agree. Because look at this. What the fuck? Now, I know it's flipped, but it says patthicc in beautiful cursive handwriting. So, but that's not all, guys. If you thought that was all, you'd be sorely mistaken. Because if it's not patthicc, if it's not thick. Do you get what I'm saying? And so that's why, of course, we had to do the back. Now, there's only one of these, unsurprisingly. Um, and I don't know when we're gonna put this online. It's gonna be, I think, probably one of one, because it's so fucking niche, right? This isn't gonna be like mass produced off to the presses. But as like a funny one time like gag, I'm not even sure for how much yet, because usually our t-shirts are like 50 AUD, which is literally, believe it or not, a pretty competitive price. But my mum was like, I don't know. I really don't know for this guy. And though my camera is not picking it up, I wonder if I can zoom in. Can I zoom in? This way. Like, it's actually made of a particular kind of material that's almost like velvet, if that makes sense. So when you touch it, it feels like, yeah, it feels a little bit like velvet. So look at that. The eyes, oh my god. I think a few people would want him. That's hilarious. I mean, it's possible, but I don't want to go like making like 1,000 of these and then sell like 2. You know what I mean? But my mum was like, oh, please show your stream. Please show your stream. And so I had to show you guys. Let's come back out. And she also has made a few other like 3D printed goodies that I wanted to show you as well. So check it out. Made to order type beat. I think that's a good way to go about it. I don't know if this is either an incentive or a disincentive for you guys, but my mom actually wanted me to wear this, and so I was basically wearing it all of last night. And so I need to, in order to finish, I think, the research and development side of this, I need to put it through the wash to see how it lasts. Because of course, it would be horrible if I sold one of these, you guys wore it, loved it to pieces, and then put it in the wash and it like disintegrated, right? So in order to make sure in terms of quality control, I'm going to chuck it through the wash, see how it holds up, like how the text holds up and stuff like that. Because, wait, can you see this? The material? Can you see how it's kind of like got that texture on it? It feels exactly how it looks, essentially. And so, yeah, I need to chuck it through the wash. But this one has been worn personally by yours truly. So I don't know if that, like, is exciting or, yeah, the opposite of that. It's quite funny. And I hope it doesn't disintegrate. It could be, like, a couple washes, so maybe I have to, like, keep it for a little while longer. Because, yeah, I want to make sure that you guys are actually getting good shit. Like, it would be really, really devastating if it ended up being, what's the word? Like, you know, if it ended up just wrecking, you know, after not very long. So, I'll hang on to it for a little bit. And then, yeah, I'll see how it goes. Because if it does kind of disintegrate after a wash or a few, we might have to change our strategy, change the material, change the way it was put on there. Because I want you guys to get the best, you know how it is. Yeah, sent it at delivery is crazy work. But yeah, I just thought it would be so funny because look, we have our patthicc as our mascot. He's been our mascot for so long, and yet we didn't have a shirt with his face and behind his derriere. Like that needed to be changed. So, yeah, though it is very niche, I feel like we're going to make them to order. And just kind of see how we go that way because, yeah, it's literally so, I don't know, maybe avant-garde. Is that the word? I'm not sure. But yeah, if you guys want to see some of the other things my mom has printed, then you're in luck. Here it is. This bag. She was so excited to show you guys this, so it's my pleasure to kind of present it to you. The backstory is that my mum got a 3D printer for Christmas, a very exy one, and she went all out basically. So she's kind of just been practicing with, and like experimenting with this new toy of hers, much to like my and my siblings' benefit, essentially. She recently just sent a package all the way to my sister in Perth, with a bunch of these little gadgets and gizmos. She literally, I think, got the package today. And so we've all just been receiving like, you know, any toy that we want essentially, which is fantastic. I don't think my mum will ever have to buy like another present for anyone ever again. She can just print one. And so, yeah, I'll show you some of them. I've shown you a few from the past, but here are some of the latest gadgets and gizmos. She got a Bamboo Labs, I think C1X, something like that. Bamboo Labs C carbon something. X1C? I think that's the one. So it's pretty high end. She also got like some of the add-ons that kind of automatically put some of the filament in. So in total, I think it costs roughly like $4,500, which is fucking expensive, right? And then she also bought a 3D scanner. So in total, like she spent a bag and a half on this type of thing. But hopefully, you know, we can end up making some cool stuff for the store as well. And yeah, it's fucking professional as. So you guys will see in the quality of these prints as well. And also as for the patthicc shirt, I think it's heat pressed on. So I don't know if that's better or worse. First up, we've got, oh, that looks so good on camera, a fidget toy. Ta-da! Which literally you can play with endlessly because it folds both this way and like what? This way. So it folds two ways, right? So you can just kind of like, I don't know, when you're trying to concentrate, fidget with one hand. The colors, that looks so good. I might try and zoom in so you guys get a better look. This way. So don't mind me. Don't mind my face in high definition. You see that? Whoa. And it makes a kind of satisfying noise. Like, can you hear that? It's kind of too quiet to hear. But anyway, it's like kind of heavy-ish, very tactile, and one of many fidget toys that she's been experimenting with. So you can kind of see the pattern and the colors, if it will focus. Should I block out my face? How does this work, guys? You can see the actual surface texture of the like printing bed that she was using. Looks so cool, right? It's perfect for people that like to fidget, or like kids, you know. Like people who are maybe neurodivergent that want something to kind of keep themselves occupied with. So this has been a fun little toy to just like mindlessly fidget with. Also, oh my god, this might be my favorite one yet. She made this fucking cool ass articulated crystal dragon that, oh my god, it's too fiddly. Put this to the side. It looks like it's been made out of like amethyst or some kind of crystal, right? Wait. Whoa. See how it's got glitter in it as well? Oh, my camera's having a hard time. Fuck, guys. I'm not a professional at this. I don't know how to show you this in better detail. Doesn't that look so cool? It's meant to be a water dragon, apparently. That's what she said. It's so cool, right? And like every single bit of it articulates, so you can like, you know, chuck them over your shoulder and just go about your day like an evil genius, or like Khaleesi type beat. And I will say, it actually kind of looks better in real life. These colors aren't doing it justice on the camera, because like it's almost a little bit see-through in real life. But here it just looks mainly like blue. She didn't design this one, but she has designed a few of the others that I'll show you in a bit. This one I think was a design that if you want to sell, you have to pay for. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't want to be ripping anyone off. But like, it's pretty long, right? And so this is a new kind of filament that's meant to look a bit like kind of see-through crystal type bead. He's so cute, right? The longest one so far as well. So, oh my gosh, you can really see how sweaty I am here, guys. Don't look. The next thing that she made was another egg, which looks really cool on camera. Kind of matches the background. Whoa. With something inside it. Like a Kinder Surprise that you can't eat. Does anyone want to guess? No. Another dragon. This one is like the Bart Simpson dragon because he's got like blonde hair. Look at that. With a green body. And I left a couple at my mum's place still, but there are a couple that are just free designs that you can use for whatever you want. You can sell with no issues or just with like credit. Oh, look at his face. He's smiling at you. And you can see his like blonde mohawk. So cool, right? Dragon egg with a little dragon inside it. Though his tail did break off. Can you see that? That's why we've been testing them at home because, you know, the tail should not be falling off after 2 seconds of playing with it. That's the tail. It looks cool though. So yeah, that was a sad thing. He's been injured. He really has been injured. But it's good R&D because you never know unless you try. And so he looks cute. He's got a fancy hairstyle. He's like blonde, rebel teenage years. But yes, he has a bit of a tail issue. So we'll put him back in his egg. And funnily enough, when both my parents, but when my dad was showing one of these, showing off my mum's creations, he was opening it up and he was like, "Oh, he bit me." And I was like, "What?" So now whenever like I show it to people in real life, I like do the same fucking bit. So I'm sorry, Dad, I stole your comedy. What else have we got in my bag of goodies? There's so much else, but these were just a couple of things that I wanted to show you guys. Oh yeah, the latest thing that my mum made. She made a noughts and crosses little like thing. It looks a bit like an abacus, but you can play noughts and crosses. And it's quite funny because the actual design that she found was meant to be the size for a keychain. So like maybe a quarter of this size, right? But because she wanted it to be like kind of more handheld and like a little bit bigger, she just expanded the design and she was like, "Nah, this is way too big now." It's like, how could this be a keychain? There's even like a spot here to put in the little loop. But yeah, like it's a tic-tac-toe thing with one of the toes. Which one's a tick and which one's a toe? Noughts and crosses. The nought is like slanted the wrong way, but you know, you live and you learn. So we played a couple rounds and it's quite fun. And then I was thinking, oh, what would happen if you played it on both sides? And like you kind of just had to live with the consequences, right? Let's say like you and I were playing and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be an X there. Then you can also play on the other side and be like, oh, there's an O on that side. I wonder if that would do anything. Anyway, that's another one, and it's kind of cute and tactile as well. She was just kind of testing it out because it prints fully made. It's kind of crazy to think that there's nothing like screwed in or like no like different pieces, especially because these are articulating, right? It somehow prints and it's like perfect already. So that's kind of crazy to me. And then, of course, this was from a while back, but she also made this, which is like meant to be a statuette of me. It's better, excuse me, it's better in the kind of profile side, so you can see some of the details more clearly. She made another updated version of this in a different material, so it looked more like a stone instead of just pure white. And I was like, damn, that looks so cool. What do you guys think? Is it accurate? I don't know. But yeah, my favorite right now is definitely the crystal dragon. It looks so freaking cool. And let's see if we can get a close-up of his face here. So majestic. Like, damn, you can see the sparkles in the filament as well. So, coming soon, hopefully sooner rather than later, I will put some of those things, the free things, or like the ones that we've gotten licensing for on the website as well. So you guys can also enjoy some 3D printed creations if that's up your alley. So, yeah, whipping out the toys on the first date. It's bold, but it tends to work. Let me put these back in because I'm only loaning these. My mom wanted them back. She's got quite an impressive collection. So that's just a couple, as well as the shirt as well. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, we're like cooking. We're always cooking up new things for you guys. So hopefully, there'll be some cool stuff at the Poetic Shop in the near future. So, um, yeah, we'll see. We might have to buy a couple of licenses and, um, yeah, maybe even create some of our own designs. It takes a while to get used to Blender, because it's literally like a whole other language. But if I, if I start slowly but surely, I should be able to make some pretty basic items. In terms of the plastic, it's hard to say because each creation is kind of, a different weight with different wastages and stuff. But each roll of plastic, it can go from like $20 to like even $100. And of course, like you can make even like, I don't know, I don't even know how many creations you can make per roll. But yeah, I guess the cop-out answer is it depends. But I think you could probably make like 50 or so creations with one roll, something like that. If they're all like roughly the same size, like, maybe the dragons and stuff like that. Yeah, not so expensive. I think the most expensive part is probably the actual printer itself and some of the add-ons, like so you have the printer and then you have like the actual filaments, and then as a way to actually put the filaments into the printer, there's like a special machine that does that. So yeah, it's not too bad, but like all hobbies, it can get pricey pretty quick. So yeah, it's funny. But anyway, as we make more stuff, I'll of course show you guys, and you can also like just make requests, like, oh, I want a cherry themed dragon. I don't even know what that would look like, and we'll be like, on it. The chefs are cooking as we speak. But yeah, that's kind of funny, and coming soon, essentially. So, but anyway, I think it's almost time for our affirmations. What I'm gonna do first is take a quick little break, fill up my bottle, and then we'll reconvene for some affirmations and some website looking at. So, and yes, of course, you can like redesign stuff too. Don't go anywhere. Enjoy this funky music, and we'll keep the party going in just a moment. All right? Ding. All right, we're back. See, that wasn't too painful. Let's zoom out a little bit more. You guys know what time it is. It's one of my favorite points of the stream. You've heard it before, you've loved it before, and you're gonna love it again because it's time for our affirmations, baby. You know how it is. So let me get them up, and if anyone's new around here, you can experience it for the first time, which is always my favorite thing. When people are like, what the hell is even going on? What the hell is even this? Let me get it up just here. So, was I a Smash player? That's so funny. I loved Smash and I was terrible at it. So it's one of those things where you love something but it doesn't love you back type beat, because I grew up with my brother, of course, and then the cousins that would come round and we'd all play together, and I was horrible. Absolutely fucking horrible at it. And I would just button smash and still be horrible. So like I I don't know. It's the kind of thing where now sometimes I'm a little bit hesitant to play because I just know what to expect. I'm nowhere near, like, especially my brother or my cousins, but my brother could probably play Smash professionally. He's that fucking good, and it's infuriating because usually, you know, the competition is a little bit more even when it comes to, like, let's say Mario Kart, for example, or Mario Party. We're kind of, you know, more evenly matched. But I've never been so mogged as when I'm playing Smash. And so I used to main probably Zelda, actually. Yeah, if you have a Smash prodigy in your house, it's GG. That's hilarious. That's literally what it felt like. And so my brother is actually cracked at it. Zelda's so fun, and especially when she can, like, transform into Sheik. I'm hoping that's how you pronounce it. But in general, I guess I didn't really help myself because all of my favorite characters are some of the, like, weaker characters, right? You can't transform into Sheik anymore. That's crazy. That shows my age since I used to play on the GameCube. Yeah, so I used to play, like, Olimar. No, actually, that's kind of a meme. Who did I used to play? Zelda, and actually Toon Link as well, which I think was in the newer one. Brawl, yeah, that's right. And it's funny though, because recently I've been playing, well, not recently, but you know, the most recent time that I've played, I've stuck to the more, like, kind of eye candy characters, like the shirtless guys or whatever, because I'm just like, well, I'm gonna lose anyway. Might as well have some fun with it. Might as well just stare at a shirtless guy while I get my ass whooped. So, yeah, Zelda's quite fun to play with though, and like Zero Suit Samus and stuff. So I do quite like my fan service, you know? Also Peach is quite fun. I remember, actually, this is only tangentially related, but when I used to use my DS Lite, which is a blast from the past, there was this Princess Peach game where you could, like, use her specific powers to, like, move through the game, essentially. Like, you could change her emotions and it would, like, help you get through a level. I think, yeah, she probably went to save Mario. It was so fun, right? And so, like, you could make her cry, which is kind of fucked up when you think about it, to, like, water plants, and then you could climb up the vines. Like, you could make her angry to, like, set something on fire. And you could also, I'm pretty sure if I'm not mistaken, you could use her dress to, like, fly. And I think you can do a little bit of that in Super Smash as well. Super Smash Bros. Brawl, if you want to use the full name. And that was fun, because it's, like, it's a little bit OP, kind of, though a lot of characters have their own flying mechanics. The power of emotion is exactly right. I just remember it was funny because, like, I don't know, you can float above all the bullshit and just, like, watch from above. But yeah, I have a soft spot for Princess Peach. She's a sweetheart. But anyway, damn, got me feeling old over here. It's so hard. Like, all my friends, my brother, my cousins, they're all so fucking good at Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Full name. And it's like, why? I shouldn't even bother. Like, I literally shouldn't even bother. But then I try to whoop some ass when I play Mario Kart. I'm pretty good at Mario Kart as well. But yeah, affirmations time. Guys, this is one of my favorite parts of the stream, though it's hard to choose a favorite, really. Because I think everyone deserves to hear these words every now and then. And so if I'm the one to deliver them, that is an absolute honor. Without further ado, from Amy Walker to me, to you, it's my pleasure to tell you, yes. Yes, you are. You are ready. You are equipped. You are connected. You are unique. You are gorgeous. You are loved. My personal favorite, you are alive. So, thank you for being here in this stream, for kicking it with me and patthicc, but way more importantly than that, for being here on this earth in general. I know that it's not always easy, but it is always, 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 always important. And I do believe we can make life good for one another, so that's worth sticking around for. Yeah, and you know what's funny, actually? I noticed that, like, every time we do this, I still look at the actual text because I'm so afraid of getting it wrong, even though I've recited these, like, probably hundreds of times at this point. But it's kind of like when you're doing a math test and you just, like, there's a question like 5 plus 3, and you use a calculator just to make sure. That's kind of like the same vibes, because like I want to make sure that I don't accidentally say you are scrumdiddlyumptious instead of you are equipped. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to fuck it up. It's so important to me. And so yeah, sometimes I'm like, damn, I really should know these off by heart, and I think I do know them off by heart. But it's just that impulse to like quickly check, like, oh, okay. Yeah, you are supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, even though the sound of it is something quite precocious. So there we go. And so yeah, what's 1 plus 1? I have to check. Let me get back to you in 3 to 5 business days. But yeah, now recite the Wizard of Oz theme. Wait, what is even the Wizard of Oz theme? I could recite to you the Wicked theme. Sorry, I won't. That's funny. Oh, the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. You find he is the wizard whiz, if ever a whiz there was. Because of the wonderful things he does, the Wizard of Oz is one because. Because of the wonderful things he does. I don't know if that's like accurate. I actually forgot it, not gonna lie. I didn't mean to mug you. I'm pretty sure you did a wonderful job. That's funny though. Is this too close? Too close for comfort? Zoom out a little bit. Yeah, I feel like a little bit in a sing-songy mood. Let's see. What I've been listening to recently. Honestly, same old, same old. And, you know how I like to stay within my comfort zone. It's just like Hosier. What else? What's on my playlist right now? Actually been getting into, what's his name? Ted something? The song The Door. Teddy Swims, which my auntie actually recommended. Not Ted Bundy. That is so fucking... That is so cursed and so funny at the same time. I've been kind of getting into Ted Bundy recently. A serial killer type beat. There are people actually interested a bit more than what's normal in those types of things. Teddy Swims. He has a couple of songs recently that have pinged my interest. The Door. Thought I was done for you, baby, but I can't take... Fuck, my voice. But I can't take this pain no more. I thought it was willing. See, I know this song, and yet I trip myself up because, like, I guess stage fright, you know? I need the lyrics right in front of me. But tonight I saved my life when I showed you the door. That type of song. Also, what else? Some of the classics like Sabrina Carpenter, who's been killing it, like, recently. And Chapel Roan, you know. I was singing Good Luck Babe just before. And actually, since last stream, no, not last stream, a few streams back where I think one of you guys asked me, who's the most underrated artist in your opinion? And I pulled out all the stops and I gave you as underrated could be, with an indie singer who literally has like only 1,000 followers, subscribers on YouTube, right? Like, that is underrated. And one of her songs, actually, her name's Molly of Geography, has been stuck in my head. And there's a particular line that's so poetic and so beautiful and like bittersweet at the same time. She says, try to touch you where it hurt, but I couldn't find the bruise. Like, that song and that particular hook has been stuck in my head. And that's all because like one of you guys just reignited that little memory for me. Because like I hadn't thought about that person or like listened to any of their music for probably years. And I even saw an old comment of mine on that video saying, oh, I love this song from like 3 years ago. And so, yeah, thanks to you guys, I've now got an earworm that's like a bit of a nostalgic blast from the past. So thank you. I think it's a good thing. But it sucks when someone is really fucking underrated, like to the point where essentially no one knows about them except you. Like sometimes it's fun when someone's kind of a little bit still underground. It feels like a little secret, you know? But this is like fucking core of the earth. So I hope one day she gets more exposure. She's really good. But anyway, yeah. Ashutosh, welcome in. G'day, g'day. And how you going? We have an Australian song that goes, "G'day, g'day, and how you going? What do you know? We'll strike a light." And yes, you have to use the Bogan accent. "G'day, g'day, and how you going? Just say g'day, 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 and you'll be right." So we sung that among other songs on our road trip. Um, and to the middle of Australia, Central Australia. And yeah, it was a real hoot. It's quite funny. My Italian drill obsession paid off when more people from Oz found out about them. That's crazy. It's kind of bittersweet when like something that you've been into for a while finally starts getting the recognition that it deserves. Because it's like, damn, not to be hipster, but I was here first. I liked Molly of Geography before it was cool. So yeah, it feels a little bit like you have to let go of something, right? Maybe it's a similar feeling when it comes to streamers and stuff. Like when you kind of hang out in like smaller streams like this, for example, it can feel a little bit more personal. And as they get bigger, it's like you're happy for them, but it's also like it's just hitting different, you know? So yeah, it's a conundrum to say the least. But for me, especially when it comes to artists, as long as they're still like making stuff and like doing the thing that makes them happy, then I guess I can grin and bear it, I guess. So yeah, it's like just the nature of what it means to become more, I guess, successful, question mark, or not even, just like more well known. Because I think you can be successful without being famous. But yeah, sometimes it just means changing priorities or a change in procedure, you know? So yeah. Feels more connected than like the 1,000 view no interaction Andy. And it sucks though, right? Because like the only way to really make a living from something like this is to really shoot or like to aim for that kind of thing. Most viewers as possible essentially, which is not, it's not healthy, you know? It's almost, dare I say it, crazy making. Especially if you focus entirely on the numbers, you'll just go berserk, you know? Found you when you started though, not gonna lie. Good to see you're still going and growing. Thank you. That makes me very happy. And even if like, you know, I never fucking become that multiple thousand viewer Andy, in terms of like personal growth, it's so helpful, you know, to just like learn what it's like to talk for long periods of time without feeling too awkward being the key term, or even just like as a kind of audiovisual diary over time. Now that we have that new channel, which is like basically the full VODs, you know, that C Locket is very kindly in charge of, I can kind of pick any day in the past and just like see myself at that time. And I'm sure in like years in the future, that's going to become increasingly valuable. Like it literally is like a diary, but in the most kind of raw and visceral way possible. I can see myself, I can hear my own voice, I can see the days where I'm higher or lower energy, and that's stuff that maybe doesn't translate as well when it's just purely in text. So as much as I talk about the beauty and the benefits of writing, there's some things that writing can't fully encapsulate. And so this is like, I don't know, a diary on steroids kind of. And yeah, improving public speaking was my number one kind of goal. And it's up and down, essentially. But I feel like it's definitely, the trend at least has gone up. It's definitely helped. Though there are times where, literally, even as of today, and fucking yesterday and the day before, I do things that are very awkward and embarrassing in public. Like just today, actually, I was getting my mail, and because I live in kind of like a unit, a set of units essentially. We don't have individual mailboxes. We have a big block where all of our mailboxes are right next to each other. It's a little further away from our house. And so, houses, I should say. And so like when I went to get the mail, I had my bag and I had my water bottle and I had my phone that I was already holding, and it was windy as hell. So I was like kind of struggling to hold everything. And then like the wind came and all the mail just scattered onto the floor. And I was like, oh, okay. I literally said fuck out loud. And just at that moment when that happened, like a lady turned the corner with a dog, right? And she just saw everything unfold. And I just felt like so fucking awkward, right? And literally, she just kept walking. She didn't say anything. She didn't stop to help. I mean, I wasn't expecting her to help or anything. I'm not entitled to people's help. But it was just so funny how I guess she just decided not to acknowledge it, which probably is for the best for my sense of embarrassment. But yeah, it's little things like that that I'm constantly just like, wow, I'm just fucking awkward. Like, you know, because I could have handled it better, as in maybe I could have put my bottle and phone and bag away before I went to get the mail, but I was being lazy. I didn't want to take 2 trips. So I just like was carrying everything like really awkwardly, you know, like where's my bag? I don't even know where my bag is, but I was just like trying to make sure that I was getting everything at once. And so that was quite funny, and just have to laugh it off, you know? You just have to laugh, or else you cry type beat. But yeah, it's nice to not care how people see you. Like, that is a skill that can be so important, especially when it comes to some of the small stuff. You know, like, I don't know. I like to think of it as, what's the word? Trying to enjoy what life has to offer instead of kind of missing all of it because you're too busy fixated inwards, right? And so, yeah, it's sometimes easier said than done, of course, but it's possible. And so, yeah, little by little, I think everyone can get there. And certainly streaming has helped me with that, because there are like fucking multitudes of embarrassing things that I've done and said, looked at, or looked on stream. And so you kind of just get used to it by kind of exposure therapy. And it's helpful, as painful as it can be in the moment. So, do you think perception matters, or is it better to maintain standards of decorum? It's a fantastic question. Honestly, I feel like everything in balance, right? Take the middle road. At least that's what I try to practice as much as possible. Even though I can be kind of like an oscillating pendulum at times between 2 extremes. There is a certain level of social like appropriateness that I think is helpful to maintain, but there is a point where it gets too oppressive. Like, we become so self-critical that we start fucking missing the entire point of being alive. And so somewhere in between those two, like an overly wound up persona and an overly fucking chaotic persona, there's a sweet spot. And I think for everyone, it's a little bit different. For me, I probably lean more towards the wound up side. But, you know, like everything, it's about balance, right? And certainly I feel like I'm more drawn to people that just seem so effortlessly okay with themselves. And surely it's probably taken some time and effort and actual work, but seeing them, it just feels so natural, you know? Yeah, yin and yang is the perfect way to describe it. Very succinct. And it sounds like such a cop-out, right? Until you're actually in those scenarios where you're just like, damn, I've been really just in this whirlwind of chaos. What can I possibly do to get out of it? And it's really just about that balance. Finding a way to take the good from both, recognize the bad, and like kindly move on from it. And so, yeah, definitely easier said than done though. Yeah, life can be a comedy. I think that's true. It's quite funny, you know? I think comedians have a lot going for them in the sense that they see the world quite more often than not as it is. Like, it's all, yeah, it's all just one absurd little experience. And so, yeah, I've often said that comedians and poets are like 2 sides of the same coin. Essentially what they do is delight/shock people through describing the world in a hopefully fresh perspective. Sometimes that elicits laughter, sometimes that elicits awe, but it's the same thing. They're doing fundamentally the same thing. And so there's a reason why a lot of comedians are also tragedians, if that's a word, and vice versa. But yeah, it's fascinating, you know. I'm not some life guru, but from what I've observed, I suppose, yeah, it's nice to not have to take yourself, I suppose, so seriously all the time. Though it seems difficult, especially in your teenage and young adult years, you know. It feels like, damn, my life is so over if if something goes wrong. So, yeah, a wind up toy. I honestly feel like that's so true because, like, I sometimes, you know, sometimes require a little bit of amping up to get going, and then I give it my all, and then I'm just completely pooped, right? The hole in the back so people can sneak into the room and crank it up. That's so funny. Um, and so when I'm pooped, like when I'm tired, I'm dead in the sense that like there's no amount of anything that could basically get me started up again besides just like winding me up again, you know? So that's actually very good, like a very good metaphor, I suppose. And of course, yeah, the hole in the back as well. But yeah, maybe it helps for people to discover what kind of worker slash creative slash friend that they actually are, you know? And then you can work with yourself as opposed to against yourself, you know? I found in the past I worked so hard to go against my own nature because I thought that's what I was meant to do. That was like the appropriate thing to do. Like, for instance, I'm a night owl. I work best at night. But for a long time, I was trying to be that kind of, you know, early bird, morning, productive person, right? Get up early, go for a run type beat. And I think anyone can try something like that for at least a little while. But eventually it's just like, fuck, this is horrible. You know what I mean? And so I was like, well, I'm a night owl. Let me just fucking accept that at this point, right? And it's that same story with a lot of different things, at least in my life, realizing like, well, I don't enjoy this certain thing. So maybe I just don't do that thing or I modify it slightly so it can be less horrible, you know? Let me think of an example. Maybe like, I don't know, listening to music in the car or something like that. There are times where I don't want to listen to music in the car. And so if I'm with someone, I'll just be like, hey, I'm really sorry. Do you think we could just like have no music for a little while? And then of course after that, you can play whatever you like. You know what I mean? Like just talking to people about what you need. Obviously if I'm by myself, that's not much of an issue. I can just do what I want. But in terms of like prior to realizing that you can just like tell people things and more often than not, they're willing to oblige you. I would just sit with the discomfort. Like for instance, early in the morning, going on like a road trip or something, being like, you know what, I really don't want to listen to like fucking this boring ass radio for like 30 minutes. Can we just have like quiet time at the start? Like just saying that to people, they'll be like, oh yeah, of course. I actually kind of wanted that too, but I didn't want to say it because like I thought you enjoyed the listening to the radio. It's like little things like that. You figure out how to work with yourself instead of against yourself. And it's kind of like just, what's a word? Like respecting the truth, essentially. The truth of how you feel, the truth of how you want to feel. And so that's a really kind of obscure example, but that can apply in like a million different arenas in life. Like, I don't know, with the types of food that you eat, for example, the movies that you watch, the friends that you hang out with, the topics that you talk about, liquid soap or solid soap. Honestly, I can't choose or is my answer. But like, you know what I mean? It's, yeah. It's quite a malleable world out there. A lot of the time, you can do what the fuck you want. But I think for me, I had to learn that it's okay to want things and to attempt to kind of move towards those things. You don't always get what you want, but you can at least try, in a sense. And so, yeah, I don't know. I wish I could be more concrete about some of those examples, but like, yeah, sometimes you just have to be in that moment and realize, why am I allowing myself to be uncomfortable right now? Why don't I just do the thing, say the thing, move towards the thing that I'm trying to get to? And so, yeah, it takes time though. A lot of the time I don't want to be seen as like a nuisance or whatever. Is that a Rolling Stones philosophy? Tell me more about that. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like that meme, like when you go to a friend's house and you don't want to be a bother. So they're like, oh, do you want something to eat? Oh, no. Oh, do you want something to drink? No, I'm fine. I'll just like sit here delicately on the couch, you know, delicately on the couch. If you're hungry, ask for something to eat, you know. This is me talking to myself. Yeah, you can't always get what you want. Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, like respecting the truth of your desires, as cheesy as it sounds. It's like a skill actually to acknowledge firstly, and secondly, attempt to fulfill. I say attempt because it's not always possible or even appropriate. Like, again, you can't always get what you want. I think if we always got what we wanted, we'd be insufferable. We'd be spoiled brats, right? Um, but it's not immoral to want and even to ask, Like, oh, actually, yeah, I am hungry. Sorry, like, should we make something together? Or like, actually, I'm fine. I really don't want anything. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't eat. Please, like, it's like just being super, super upfront. It's a skill. So, yeah, the princess type beat. It's funny. I have my princess moments, and I quite like what it feels like sometimes to be in that space, as in to be more. What's the word? I don't know. Like almost like dainty and graceful and like um very amenable almost. But I think the funnest part about it is the fact that you can pick and choose when you want to be like that. Um, Sometimes you can turn it on, like for the camera, for instance. For me, I don't really do that so much. It can be a little bit embarrassing, but you know what I mean. It's like the best part about trying on different hats is the fact that they're not super glued to your head as soon as you try one on. And so, yeah, it's kind of like um it's it's a life philosophy that's always in progress. So, um and yes, I definitely agree. There's unsaid discrimination in the world against night owls. It's so true. Work with yourself, not against yourself, is the moral of that story. And whatever working with yourself means, it's going to be different for everyone. So, um, you know, I'd ask you guys if you felt comfortable to to share like what desire is kind of coursing through you right now. Like whether it's physical or emotional or spiritual or creative, like all of the above definitely matters and applies. And sometimes you don't even realize that you are desiring something until you have to think about it or you're asked to think about it. So, um, the World Enjoy says I've been playing Sims 2 and now I can see my needs bar IRL. I love when that happens. That happens with a few games for me. I start to like see the world through the game's like lens. It's very very common with the Tetris effect. But even other games like, fucking detective games, point and click, where it's like, oh, maybe I can do that in real life too. You can investigate. But yeah, I desire money. I think that's fair enough. I feel like money, it makes the world go round, despite people and what they say, money is the root of all evil. I don't think that's exactly true. But I can sympathize with the people that think that. I feel like money is access, right? So if you have money, you can do things. You can have things. You're awarded special privileges, especially once you start getting like obscene amounts of it, right? Money becomes status. And so it's like less about the actual number, more about the bracket, I suppose, and about what it symbolizes. What is money if not security, if not an escape from kind of, throwing yourself into the mechanics of a 9 to 5, essentially. I desire to be the richest man in the world. That is pretty high aspirations. It's possible. It's certainly possible. But I wonder, like, what about the second most rich? Could you settle for that? It's possible that it could be irrelevant within 25 years. I mean, again, not out of the realm of possibility. There's been a huge kind of shift in terms of like Bitcoin and the various other decentralized like tokens and stuff like that. I'm not that well versed. Funnily enough, my parents are way more into it than I am, which I feel like it should be the other way around. But they're like, "Oh, Emmy, we just bought some Bitcoin today." And I was like, "Damn, like you guys, what? Like, how do you even know how to do that?" You know what I mean? And so yeah, it's quite an interesting, like, I guess arena that I'm so curious and confused about. But yeah, it's one of those things. I don't think it's possible for people to have too much money, or at least that's how they feel. Past a certain point, the number doesn't even matter anymore. But it's just like a lifestyle and what you get used to. Um, Still, though, it's fickle. It's a fickle mistress. Especially, well, it depends what you do for work. If you're in like the entertaining space, it can be very up and down. Like, you know, 1 minute you can make $1,000, and the entirety of the next month, or even multiple months, you could not see a single cent. That's enough to drive anyone fucking crazy, right? It's no wonder that you see people being so outrageous and over the top and controversial online, you know? It's kind of like any press is good press type beat, you know? It doesn't matter if people love me or hate me as long as I'm getting eyes on me. I think that's the sentiment. And of course, that's not the way I like to live my life. I think maybe not even in a good way, I have more of an ego than that. But of course, when it comes to something like this, I'm not putting on a character. I don't have like an avatar or like a VTuber thing. So like what you see is what you get. And if people don't like me, they don't like me, you know? It's not like they don't like a character that I'm playing, or they don't like a story that I've written. It's literally like the core of who I am. And so there's a lot more at stake. So, you know, it keeps me honest, which I like. And it's involved in like when you're playing the clean game. But I think maybe it does mean you have to make certain, what's the word? Concessions, I suppose. I want to build a house out of $100 bills. Yeah, that was actually the fourth monkey in my mum's story. That's quite funny. Damn, yeah. I think who could probably do that? Like Elon Musk could probably do that. Bill Gates. Which is kind of obscene to think about, right? Like, damn. Especially considering the state of the world for the majority of people in the world. But yeah. Travel Mites has a prediction based on a future AI economy. That's interesting. Yeah, the AI is a really fucking fascinating, kind of scary discussion. We were talking about DeepSeek recently, and I said, like, mark my words, it's going to get nerfed in the near future, and I think it's already started. In the rare times that the servers have actually been active and not down, I was playing with it a little bit, like kind of chatting with it, testing its capabilities, its limitations, its censorship, etc. And I was blown fucking away, right? By how, well, first of all, how humanistic it sounds, which is scary enough on its own, but also like how robust its thinking process is, and the fact that you get to read it, right? Yeah, the fact that you get to read its thought process is like so revolutionary and kind of crazy to think that we didn't have it until now. However, because of various things, such as the entire world trying to use it, and also rumors of it being attacked by like foreign entities, I suppose, it's been basically unusable for the past week or so. Now I've been trying to use it, and the responses have changed. It's a little bit less robust, a little bit less willing to expand its thought processes and stuff like that. And like, yeah, it just feels like something has changed about it, which kind of sucks, because it seems like they're just kneecapping it for no reason. But, you know, as long as that thinking feature is still present, like, that is so literally revolutionary. Because, like, I don't know, isn't that what it means to, like, teach someone how to do something? It's like to show them your thought process and in a logical way. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. And I did see that ChatGPT/OpenAI had then released for free their reasoning feature, which is kind of similar, but it's way worse. Because, like, it'll just give a summary essentially of what it's done if you press the reasoning button. I don't know if it's gotten better since I last tried it. I tried it like once before. But yeah, it's kind of interesting because like uh OpenAI saw like DeepSeek's popularity, the fact that it fucking like absolutely nosedived Nvidia's stock value, and they were like, oh, I guess we'll release this feature for free as well, even though they could have done that like at any point in the past beforehand. But anyway, you know, it is what it is. I can't wait to see how it evolves and hopefully doesn't get nerfed any further because that would be sad. It's such a powerful tool. I gave DeepSeek a geometry problem and it thought for 22 pages to figure it out. That's hilarious. Yeah, it's funny. Like people were trying to push it to the limit to see how long they could get it to think for, because it says like thought for like 20 seconds or whatever. There's someone that made it think for like 1,500 seconds. Like, what did you ask? Anyway, yeah, it's quite funny and such an interesting technology that if you have the right specs, if you have the right hardware and everything, you could run it locally on your computer, so like entirely for free, which is fucking, again, revolutionary, right? Of course, depending on like the kind of model and the size of the model that you use, you need some pretty schmicker equipment. But yeah, it's impressive that they would even release that just for free. A little bit like a fuck you too. The AI kind of, you know, I guess front runners, especially in the US. So it's a bit of a cold war right now. Interesting to see how it evolves. And Sam, welcome in. New here. I'm so glad to have you. This twerking thing is my co-host, in fact, and his name's patthicc. I even have a shirt commemorating this gorgeous figure. So, coming to my store soon. He likes to keep me company when I get lonely, streaming all by my lonesome. But yeah. patthicc is thick indeed. I know, right? He's so sexy. And yeah, I have like the stuffed toy version, but it's not here. It's at my parents' place. I have to make sure that I remember to grab him because I was literally with my mom and my brother all day today. So yeah, I just didn't get a chance to grab him. I can have him here virtually, but you know, it's always better to have a physical thickness. Anyway, that kind of reminds me, we didn't do the website plug, so maybe we'll do that now. We usually do it after our affirmations, but I think I just forgot. Here. Let's see. Poetic shop for all your, like, poetic needs. From magnets to postcards, some more curse than others, to stickers, in fact, and more. This is a labor of love by myself, my mum, my auntie, and yeah, it's our version of merch, essentially. So if you're ever in the mood for a hoodie with my handwriting, a cute little crocheted toy, or even a mug with my poetry or else name on it, this is your one-stop shop. Constantly being updated. And we make everything ourselves. So there's no AI kind of, you know, input here, at least in the designs. Make a shirt with the words Poetic Rizzler. That's fucking hilarious. Don't tempt me, because I might just. That's the beauty about having your own store. You can make whatever the hell you want, as cursed as you want, like this Squidward postcard. So, yeah. This is basically how I'm able to stream full time, and I hope one day to expand this out even more to the point where it can kind of be almost a brand of its own that you might see out and about in stores or whatever. So yeah, prices maybe range more on the premium side, but it's because like we do everything ourselves, handmade, no sweatshops in developing countries. And yeah, there's a lot of love that goes into it. So, and of course I pay my mum and my auntie fairly. So that's the plug. There it is. You're welcome to check it out. And Squidward with a BBL, that's hilarious. Again, this is like our version. Patrick with a BBL. You can see his booty. There. It's a little bit too thick, you know, too thick to pour. And so yeah, that's something I do once per stream because, you know, I'm not much of a salesperson, but I truly believe in the vision of the Poetic Store, and it feels better than just soliciting donations or anything because I can actually give something back. So, and yeah, of course, like if you just want the poetry, that's also on that same website just for free. You can read through some of my musings, my ponderings, and yeah, updates infrequently, but not totally on hiatus. But yeah, Poetic Rizzler is, I think, a good next design. Thank you for the idea. From Australia, if the accent didn't give it away. Some people say I sound like I'm from the UK or some nebulous place. To me, I just hear fucking bogan, mate, when I speak. And I did sound a lot more bogan, which is like a kind of hillbilly when I was a kid. I love Tim Tams even if I'm Korean. That's hilarious. Tim Tams are fantastic. I love the fact that they're kind of internationally acclaimed. That's so cool. Which part of Korea? I have a friend who's also Korean, and he's very dear to me, even if he's very elusive, you know? Sometimes we don't talk for like fucking 4 months, and I'll just be like, hi, I hope you're still alive. The good one, not the bad one. Oh gosh, what part in South Korea? Because yeah, it's a beautiful country. So I want to go there at some point, and I'm always jealous when I hear about my friends going traveling. So yeah, Seoul, beautiful. Though you fucking hate it. Why? Tell me everything. Yeah, I want to travel the world, guys, which I know is like literally the most basic thing ever. Literally everyone likes traveling. Well, most people, I'd say. But yeah, you need money. Give me my money type beat. So yeah, that's the dilemma, isn't it? Sometimes I look at certain people's lifestyles and I'm like, damn, how is that even possible? Like those influencers, I saw recently there was a bit of a fumble. An influencer accidentally posted to Instagram the contract that they'd made with a brand for them to post like a couple of Instagram stories. They were getting paid $45,000. I'm guessing US. That's like a regular salary for a person working a 9 to 5. You know? And they were literally getting paid that to post like 2 Instagram stories. So, yeah, I was like, that's kind of fucked up. But still, it's like actually kind of hard to believe, even though I saw it with my own eyes. It's like, that can't be real. Brands really just chucking money at people, like for a single post. It's a whole thing. But anyway, if I think about that too long, I start to despair. Yeah, it's a little bit of a kooky world out there. And I know, yeah, I have heard that there can be quite a bit of pressure from academics all the way to the beauty standards. It's rough out there. Still, it's like, yeah, it's a type of thing where, I don't know, what is my advice? It's kind of one of those moments where language fails. There's nothing really to say except, I feel you, man. Like, I am sympathetic, I suppose. Even though that doesn't really do much. But yeah, it's like, it's a kind of thing where really it's all kind of bullshit in a sense. Like the pressure to look a certain way, to present a certain way, to be clever or funny or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's so contrived, and I definitely don't envy the people that are most affected, especially in other countries where it's more oppressive than annoying, if that makes sense. The only thing I say is skibbity, and drown myself in irony. Oh gosh. you know, you have to laugh, otherwise you cry. So I approve of that. Um, how do I tell my cat that I need personal space? If you have a cat, there is no concept of personal space. Your space is their space, but their space is also their space. So it's like, you know, it's an uneven balance in the relationship, but that's just part of it, you know? That's funny. It's the same with patthicc as well. Like, you know, he's basically like a cat. So, he's like a pet. My cat puked his hairball on me yesterday and I died inside. Oh my god. Don't worry, patthicc will never puke a hairball on you. That's what I can promise. I'm sorry to hear that though. That's not, yeah, that's not nice. Yes, patthicc is a cat. That's exactly right. See, Lugger, welcome in. I'm glad to see you, my friend. Oh, I need to show you something. Check this out. I thought of you when I saw this. And if you can see it from the front, wait till you see it from the back. Back. Coming to the store maybe soon. And I would too. Don't you worry. Yeah, funny shit. Not the Doja Cat quote, I know. It's cool though, right? I showed a close-up before as well, how the material, the actual patthicc material is like this kind of strange but like nice, almost velvet material. So it's like raised and textured. In person you can see it a lot better. But yeah, coming to the store soon. Yeah, you ate with that. Did patthicc consent? Absolutely. He signed his life rights away to us, so we can do whatever we want with him, essentially. It's great. But yeah, how you doing, C Locket? I hope you're well. My computer has not crashed today. I'm happy about that. Though, yeah, my camera did do something weird before, but that was the first time I'd seen it do that. Like it kind of, it had like a flashbang type beat. I don't know why. And yeah, we're just vibing today. No crashes, baby. That's exactly right. Just good vibes, great classic hits. Yeah, it like the screen went fully white. I don't know why. Like what the last chip in the Pringles can sees type beat. It's just like, yeah, it was really weird, and it hasn't done that again. It hasn't done that before that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. So yeah, we're solving like streaming issues one step at a time, one stream at a time, though I have a new issue where I can't hear my audio. So to the people that have been following today, thank you very, very much. I can only see this pop-up that like shows up when people follow. Usually it goes like bring or whatever. But yeah, this time only you guys can hear it, which is really weird. Anyway, I'll sort it out. See, Loki, you're off to work. Thank you so much for joining us just for a little slice of time. It's always a pleasure. Have fun at work. Yeah, we're going to keep the party going for a little while longer. And let's see. Was there anything that I wanted to do? Not much besides chatting with you guys. Let me see. Rockstar, thank you very much for the fire. Been kind of kicking goals recently, you know? Especially with that last stream where my computer crashed like twice. Like we had quite a few people here and I was like, damn, this is going so well. And then blue screen of death. So yeah, that was not great, but that was, it is what it is, I suppose. I'm doing very well. I hope you are too, Mr. Rockstar. What do I think of Korean food? I love Korean food. I'm trying not to be a Korea-boo because I do quite like Korean food. I like the culture. I like the people. Like, what's it called? Like Korean fried chicken. So fucking good that I have to physically stop myself from eating it every day. I know that's kind of cliche, but also other types of Korean food, kimchi and stuff like that. Bibimbap, which is actually, I think we call it something different here. I think we just call it Korean rice bowl, which is funny because that's just like so white. But yes, I do love a good rice bowl. And I actually am obsessed with kimchi. So I'm trying not to be like a Korea boo right now. But it's also delicious. I love my my noodles. I love my rice. Love my eggs, right? So it's kind of like a match made in heaven. I love ramen as well, though I don't know if that's exclusively Korean. I think that's just, yeah. It's a few different cultures as well. Yeah, it's such an Aussie thing to call it. I know, right? Korean mixed rice bowl. You love pavlova? It's pretty good, right? Tim Tams. What else? What else is like kind of ours? Pavlova, though the New Zealanders like to say that they created it. It's hotly contested which one of us actually created it. Either way, it's delicious. Oh yes, lamingtons. For one of our milestones, like very early on, I ate a lamington on stream. I was like, damn, this is hitting different. It's so fucking good. Because I'm a total sweet tooth, so any dessert is gonna rock my world. But like, you know, a chocolate sponge cake covered in like shredded coconut, yes please. Sometimes with jam inside as well, so good. But yeah, frozen lamingtons. Oh, I think you're cooking right now. I've never had a frozen lamington. How frozen are we talking? How cold are we talking? That's important. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna make this in focus again. Did that work? Like just kind of out of the fridge? Or like, are we talking ice? Icy. Icy on the outside. As you bite it, you get the soft, cold flavor. I might actually have to try this. Okay. Okay, I see you. Have you ever been to Australia? Sounds like you're in the know. We should do like a cultural exchange. You know? I'll live in Korea for a bit. You can live here in my house. You can stream for me. How does that sound? Oh shit. Yeah. I might just have to try that little lamington trick at some point because, you know, I always am looking for new ways to have sweet foods. That's just the truth of the matter. A friend of mine was a transfer student from Australia. He never bathed. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. I promise that I bathe, you know, once a year, right? No, I bathe. I deodorantize myself. I perfumize myself. That's so funny. I hope that that's not an Australian thing. That's just that particular person thing. That's quite funny. Yeah. I've never been on a cultural exchange. In high school, we were given the option to, but it was too expensive, so I didn't get to go, while like a lot of my friends actually got to go to Italy for like 2 weeks or so. It was crazy. They were sending me like Snapchats of like the fucking, you know, Rome Trevi fountain, and I was like, wow, I hate you guys. You know, like I wish I could be there. I was trying to live vicariously through 3 a.m. Snapchats. But yeah, I'd love to visit Korea. It seems like an interesting place, you know. My friend, he is, like my Korean friend, he's so, what's the word? He's just interesting, you know? And of course, I think that's mainly just a personality thing. There's a bit of culture thing in there too, though. He's soft and sweet and sensitive. He's a little bit elusive, a little bit reserved. It's very easy to fluster him. I can just say something a little bit naughty and he goes bright red. But yeah, he's very dear to me, and he spends a lot of time kind of going back and forth from Korea back to Australia. So, yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's quite nice to know that we've got lots of friends from around the world, really. It's like, I don't know, I'm a very small fish in a very big pond, but it feels a little bit special to have people say, oh, I'm from the UK, I'm from Canada, I'm from Korea. You know, it's like, damn, we got the whole melting pot here. That's exactly what I want. So, yeah. Emmy Cherry, or as I like to call her, shooting star in a starry night. That's beautiful. Thank you very much. You know, I can only call you Magnificus, because I can't call you Dickus. Otherwise, people will be like, what the fuck? Uh, that's funny. Welcome in. I hope you're doing good. Sir D, yes, or Dillong, yes. That's funny. I think Dillong is alright. A little bit sus still. Um, the Aussie friend I had such a weird vocabulary. Bugger off, mate. Dry as a dead dingo's donga. I love that one. We've got a few like slang phrases. There's like, this one is kind of hard to explain, but you guys know there's like full-sized rotisserie chickens that you can buy from like the supermarket. We call that a bachelor's handbag here in Australia. It's very, very funny. Um, and the kind of poker machines at like, RSLs or like casinos, we call that a brickie's laptop. And so a brickie is like someone that does manual labor and builds houses. It's quite funny. We've got like so much funny little slang terms. Sometimes it like takes me a second to realize not everyone in the world knows what that stuff means or like even talks like that, you know? And so yeah, it's quite funny. As useful as a one-legged bloke in an ass-kicking contest. I haven't heard that one before. That's quite funny. There's a lot of what's the word? Like loan phrases and loan words from like the UK and stuff. Like, there's like rhyming Cockney slang, like China plate meaning mate. We have a lot of those kind of that we've borrowed as well. Yeah, I love it. I think it's funny and like charming. And sometimes I use that stuff without even realizing. Then I'm like, wait, does that make sense to you guys? So yeah, if that ever happens, just ask me and I'll fill in the details. Oh gosh. Yeah, standard English is like to be or not to be. And Aussie English is like, oi, life is hard, innit? No. Let's grab some Maccas. Midnight Maccas run, that's classic. Yeah, we tend to make a lot of words diminutive, like give them little nicknames. Like service station is servo, McDonald's is Macca's, bottle shop or like the place where you buy alcohol we call bottle-o. It's like there's not much that we don't shorten down. Oh gosh. If you work in hospitality, people say I work in hospo. Yeah, it's quite funny, even with nicknames and stuff. Damo, Davo, Stevo. Even like my actual name's Emily. I got called like Emma, Eminem, MC, like a bunch of different names. I got called Emmy though by my closest friends and my family, so I went with that when I decided on my Twitch name. And yeah, the C word is quite heavily tossed around here. I don't have any particular objection to it, but because I'm so into words and like poetry and stuff, I don't use it because it's one of those words that kind of freaks me out. Like, you know how people like shiver when they hear the word moist? That's kind of how I feel when I hear the C word. It's just like the actual sound of it. Yeah, it's quite vulgar, isn't it? Though I don't have any like, it doesn't make me go, oh, how scandalous. It's just like kind of gross, you know? But yeah, you could probably use it in a poem. I definitely agree. But I can get kind of weird with words. Like they start being, almost like my children, you know? Isn't that the weirdest thing to say? Like I prefer using certain words that make me feel happy or like that inspire good feeling or creativity and try to avoid words that make me go, ugh, you know? The C word is one of them. Though if someone says it to me, I don't even flinch. But it's just personally saying it like, it's just like, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, yeah. That's another thing that we do in Australia. Instead of saying no, we'll say yeah, nah. But instead of saying yes, we'll say nah, yeah. I stopped following Emmy when she used frick in one of her poems. That's hilarious. There was actually, I remember one time I wrote a poem and it had the F word, oh my gosh, in it. And I showed my mum and she was like, oh, take that word out. And I was like, oh shit, okay. So I had to change it. But I've grown up a little bit since then, so I don't think she would mind. But yeah, a lot of my poems have, they're kind of working as like a special agent. Like the dirtiness or the naughtiness is kind of hidden under the surface. You know, it takes a second to unravel before you're like, oh, this is actually about something totally different to what it seems like. And that's kind of the beauty of poetry. You can dress up something quite naughty in a very pretty way. And that's fun. It's like a little puzzle. So, Yeah. Twat. That's funny. For some reason, that seems softer to me, as in like the word seems less like shiver inducing than the other one. It's very British, you know? I have a soft spot for the British slang as well. It's quite funny, easy to listen to, and yeah, amusing. Quite amusing, if I do say so myself. But yeah, I'm trying to see. I'm looking at my poems here on my website. I'm trying to see if there's any like swear words. I don't think there is. Just like heavily insinuating certain things. Yeah. You fucking what, mate? That's funny. We used to like put on that kind of Aussie, not Aussie, English voice all the time. In school especially. Yeah, I don't think there's any really egregious swear words in here. Could probably look, but yeah. Anyway, as a poetry nerd, talking about words is like one of my favorite things to do. Like, they're also varied. I like to think of them as kind of like ingredients, you know? Like, you can mix and match for different outcomes, essentially, even if you're making the same thing. Changing up the recipe even by one or two ingredients can have a drastic effect, you know? Different flavors, different connotations. It's quite interesting to me. Definitely nerdy though. But yeah. I forgot what we were talking about. Oh, shorts. I've run out of chances for the recipe. Yeah, exactly. It's honestly, when writing a poem, it can feel a bit like that. Like you're just tossing things into a cauldron, stirring it up and seeing what happens. Yeah. I can write poems as well, though I might not be that good. Honestly, I think you'd surprise yourself. One of my favorite things to do is to get people that have never really written before or even thought about it to like, you know, give their hand at trying it. Because more often than not, people like have this really fresh, new perspective since they haven't been kind of sanded down the edges going to writing school, like going to university and studying the actual practice itself. Of course, yeah, I'd love to see. We have a whole Discord server as well where people submit their own stuff, whether it's writing related or like visual art or even music. So you can post that there too if you don't want it to be lost in the Twitch chat ether. Here's the link. I write mostly in Spanish. That's beautiful, but I write in English as well. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I always say that I went to university and studied creative writing, but you don't have to go to a fancy school and like spend lots of money to literally be as good as the people that spent their whole lives doing it. You know, it's like sometimes it's even better if you don't go to school because you don't get kind of, I don't know what the word is, hammered into one particular box. You're free to play around and experiment and just see what happens. Oh my gosh, let's see. Oh, the Rizzler, with words so sly, a poet who rhymed with a wink in his eye. He'd raz, with a flair so divine, I rizzle, I dazzle, I twist and I tease. Poetry's chaos, not meant to please. Very interesting. Now tell me you didn't just ask ChatGPT to write that, but that's quite funny. Honestly, I love poetry because it can be as silly or as serious as you want it to be as well. Like, you know, there's the limerick tradition, which is stereotypically meant to be quite funny, silly, and like sometimes a little bit naughty as well. But then you have like those sweeping epics, like, you know, Homer's work, not Homer Simpson, but the ancient Greek guy, and how it's like some of the most influential stories of our time, right? And so, yeah, it's like, it's very interesting, very diverse, I would say. I learned poetry at school, and from there I just learned the rest on my own. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, it's nice. Like, surely going to school and university and stuff can be helpful. Tips and tricks, and even just like allowing you the space to just dedicate all your time to writing. That's like a good way to get better at something, right? But, you know, it's not the only way. So, I suck at continuing the rhyme. It feels jarring. Honestly, you can go pretty wild with it. You don't have to continue the rhyme. You can if that's what you like. But sometimes getting experimental and like playing around with rhyming or not rhyming can be the most fun. I'll see if I can show you an example. How do you continue it without breaking the rhythmic flow? I want to give you a good answer, so let me think about it for a second. Sometimes actually utilizing slant rhymes, which is like words that nearly rhyme but don't perfectly, can be helpful. You can think about a poem as like a rap without music, or something along those lines, and just go from there. Okay, dude, welcome in. I hope you're good. Let's see. Can you please play a song called Vampire Love? Maybe later. Sometimes we look into music stuff, but usually I try to not get myself copyright struck. We'll see. Let's see. Dillon has a poem too. Once my satin and the faithful steed, who came to me in times of need, rode in my dreams. I sat above its back, esteemed, and in the sky I viewed a beam of starlit streams. This sounds like Edgar Allan Poe. I fuck with it. Yet standing this close, now it seems that you no longer recall me, ignored, unseen. Your dim hoof spawns a bloody steam across my mind, just as you scream an erotime. Is that how it's pronounced? Oh, my camera. Guys, I'm sorry. Come on now. They're known as asantes in Spanish. Close sounding, but differently written. Oh, there you go. Yeah, we call them slant rhymes or almost rhymes, like wall, appointment, silent, required. Okay, I'll show you this one. Yeah, my camera's such a troll, guys. It'll literally pause on the worst expression, like... I'll be like, what the fuck? Okay. I'll show you this one. This is a special poem to me because people always ask me, like, why do you like poetry so much? You know, what does it bring the world? What is it good for type beat? And this is my response to it, basically. It's called Musings from the Burj Khalifa Spire, where, of course, the Burj Khalifa is like the tallest building in the world, at least as of currently speaking. So I'll show you where the slant rhymes are and like how the poem is actually kind of working. So, a poem can't fix a hole punched through a wall, can't call up your therapist to make an appointment. A poem can't mute the warplanes, turn tragedy silent, or fold into shelter for those who require it. So you see here, silent rhymes with appointment, with the ENT, but also it rhymes with require it, because the kind of the consonant sound there is like being repeated, even if it's not a exact rhyme. And then a poem can't make you taller, can't infuse you with iron, which also kind of rhymes with require if you've got an Aussie accent like I do. It's like that I-or sound. Can't help you burn calories, can't unfuck the climate, which again, you've got that t-t-t sound. Poem can't replace friends, can't subsidize rent. Poem can't catch you falling from a razor-thin ledge. And then you've got that kind of sound with rent and ledge. But, a poem can be a start, a spark of intent. A poem can be a blessing in the shape of a first step. So the flow here is kind of dictated by the almost rhymes and the kind of stop-start motion of almost like you're talking, just simply talking, right? Where you would naturally pause to take a breath. But there's like a particular cadence to it that makes it a touch musical, right? And so, yeah, sometimes kind of moving away from pure rhyme can be helpful, even though I do love a good pure rhyme sometimes. I'm sure I've done it over here somewhere. The boy's a mimetic dream, his consciousness a constant stream. Yeah, so there's like a perfect rhyme there with the eam sound. Um, is a building related to Wiz Khalifa? Maybe. It's possible. That's funny. Um, but anyway, it's always very flattering when people ask me, like, for my own tips and tricks. But just so you guys know, like, I'm just a random person that likes writing. Like, sure, I've got a degree, but I hope you take whatever I say and mix it into, like, kind of the melting pot of advice from a bunch of different places. Because it's all, like, about finding what works for you, essentially, as cliche as that sounds. And sometimes it takes the right teacher to actually make the advice stick. Sometimes it would take me hearing the same thing 30 times until I'd be like, oh, actually I get it now. Or like for someone to phrase it slightly differently from what I was used to for me to actually have it sink in. So let that sink in, guys. Truly let that sink in. Sorry, just the meme. But yeah, I really like reading the poetry of people that don't study it, because it's like there's a real raw edge beauty to it, and kind of like a lack of pretentiousness that I think sometimes can seep through. If you've been in the writing world for a while, not that it's a bad thing to be pretentious. I think, you know, I'd rather people write pretentious things than not write at all. But yeah, it's quite a fascinating look to see the world through someone's eyes who doesn't actually study the discipline itself of writing. But yeah, anyway. Does that make sense? Yeah. You guys make some good shit, essentially. We've got that Discord server where people post their own things, and though we haven't done it like this year yet, we do have a poetry competition where people can win prizes. Yippee! From my merch store. We usually do it at the end of the month, so I want to bring that back. So yeah, I'd encourage you guys to keep writing. You know, often things reveal themselves. States of mind, emotions seem to spring up from somewhere, and you're like, oh, I didn't even realize I was feeling sad / angry / whatever it may be until I started writing. Though often I think that happens more when you're just doing like a diary entry or like just free writing for like half an hour. My favorite aesthetic in terms of, well, it depends. Furniture, fashion, writing. Because I think I probably have different answers for each. In terms of writing, of course, it's very decadent. I was fascinated by the decadent writers like Oscar Wilde, etc. In terms of fashion, oh god, it's a bit all over the place. I don't feel like I'm particularly fashionable as an individual, and I like my creature comforts, but I can definitely appreciate like a well-styled look, you know? Especially kind of like, almost like, I don't know what the word is. It's almost like princessy aesthetic, you know? Princess Peach type beat. It seems so playful and fun and very pretty, which is, I don't know, it's like soothing to my soul and my eyes. Funnily enough, with furniture, I'm the complete opposite way. I'm into very like kind of industrial, brutalist almost. As you wouldn't tell by this room, but my like living room and kitchen and stuff is, yeah, it's kind of industrial with a bit of like apocalyptic overgrown vines and stuff. So, let's see. Baroque, yeah, that's pretty cool. There's also Baroque poetry. Let's see. Baroque. Baroque style. And DeLong has a poem here. Near the blue Nile, emerald eyes from the Greek Isles, an ivory smile. Oh, I like that. A bunch of slant rhymes in such a short, like, few sentences. Very impressive. Yeah, this is the Baroque style. Oh, I love it in the designs here. So cool. Yes, it's very ornate, very kind of old school, I would say. Old money. Intricate. Beautiful. Yes, royal. That's a great word for it. And again, places that I would love to visit. Like you see a lot of this in Italy, in kind of the chapels, the churches and stuff. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Dolce and Gabbana. Yeah, it's hard because like I'm so what's the word? I'm so fascinated by the world in general that like I can never stay faithful to one aesthetic or like one train of thought, you know? Because like I want to see it all. I want to enjoy it all. And so one minute I'm like into this kind of style, the next minute I'm into like a more industrial style. Like kind of like this. You guys, well, maybe some of our new friends haven't seen, but some of our old friends have seen my living room. Yeah, it's kind of a bit more like dark metal ceramic type beat. But then sometimes I'm like, actually, I want to see what else is there? I don't know, like French style. That's nice. My bed looks like this. Well, it's got 4 posts. But yeah, it's got that kind of beautiful, ornate look, pure white with the it used to have the curtains on it, but when I moved, my room was too small. When I put the curtains up on the bed, it looked like it was too claustrophobic, so I just took them down. 4-poster bed with curtains. So my bed looks like this, essentially. No, not that. Like this. Closer to that. Yeah, very fancy. There's a story with my bed that I've told before, but yeah. Now it doesn't have the curtains. It's more like that. But in the French style. Post-Renaissance European. Yeah. Post-Renaissance. If I can spell it. European. Yeah, look at that. I mean, is that post-Renaissance? That is just Renaissance. Post-Renaissance is interesting. Baroque was a period after the Renaissance where people were disappointed with reality, so they tried to hide from reality with highly decorated styles. That's fascinating. And it's interesting because often like the art movements at the time are very heavily tied into the political and cultural climate, either as a reaction or an overreaction. Renaissance is too real. And so, yeah, often you can look at the time period through its artwork and see what was kind of going on, how the people were feeling and stuff like that. So, let's see. Palacio, is that how you say it? Palacio? Del Marquez. Oh wow. That the outside of that is so it's so pixelated, but there we go. That's beautiful. Wow, wow, wow. It's like royal for sure. You should look at Chinese 100 flower pattern. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, I love that. That's gorgeous. Kind of reminds me of something that you'd see in a museum, funnily enough. It says Brooklyn Museum right there. But here in Australia, or I should say in Victoria, in the city, we have the National Gallery of Victoria, which is like a mostly free museum that is always changing up their exhibits, right? And they have stuff kind of like this in certain sections. It's beautiful. 100 flowers. Chinese paper cutting art. Let's have a look. Oops. Oh yeah, that's fucking cool. I've seen like pop-up cards You open them and it like has a little design that's like this intricate. Very, very cool. Yeah, I mean, there's so much beautiful art in the world. Varying levels of niche, you know? And as tumultuous and hectic, sometimes a little bit devastating as the world can be, and everyone in it, and everything that goes on in it, there's so much to fill your cup with in terms of enjoyment. Like, I don't know, how can you look at this and not just be like, wow, that's just fucking cool? You know what I mean? Humanity's pretty cool. I mean, we've done some fucked up shit, but there are people out there making this type of thing and just making, like, beautifying the world, beautifying themselves. Yeah, very, very cool. In Spain we have, is it Azula's art? It's funny you say that. There's a board game kind of based on that. Azul. It's called Azul as well. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. So beautiful. When I first saw this, because I have the game called Azul. Here. Oops. Wasn't meant to type that. Game. Azul, sorry. Without the E. When I first saw this, I was like, oh, interesting. I wonder if it's related, right? And originally, and this is showing my ignorance, I thought it was Turkish. Ashul a Hos. Thank you. I'm sorry about totally butchering that. But then I was like, oh, it's actually Spanish, which is so beautiful, right? You can see the deep blues there. It's so intricate. Yeah, very, very nice. I love it. This game is pretty fun too. It involves kind of like that same designs. So, what do you welcome in? Yeah. So new friends joining us. Welcome in, welcome in. Some of our old friends. It's been a hot minute. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you're at. We're kind of just like really taking it easy right now. Look up Indian Mandala Cosmic Design. Design. Yeah, very trippy, very trippy. I feel like if you stared at this type of thing for too long, you might just start hallucinating. But beautiful, right? So beautiful. It's cool though. Like I was saying, there's so much art in the world and so many different kinds of art depending on like where you live, what kind of culture, like you're immersed in. It feels like I took LSD. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. And of course there's like the First Nations Australian art, which is very classic. I have a few of these pieces from when I traveled to Central Australia for a like school kind of camp. It's like kind of known for the like dot formation and stuff like that, and how they're often like abstract representations of like the campgrounds and stuff. So you see with things like this, sometimes circles would represent people sitting around a campfire or like the water hole and stuff like that. And so it's almost like an artistic map of the I guess the tribe or like the area. It's fascinating stuff. So detailed, so beautiful. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it fills me with the opposite of like, you know that doomer feeling when you're like, guys, it's so Jova. The world is fucked. Climate change is about to consume us all. It's Jova. Sometimes when I like re-immerse myself in these different worlds, like that feeling dissipates, at least somewhat. So yeah, it's really nice. I like how intricate it can be. And like these canvases, excuse me, can sometimes be really fucking huge. And so you think about how long it would have taken to do these little like dots so intricately without like spilling it or anything like that, waiting for it to dry and everything. It's really, really beautiful. Yeah. That's funny. The biggest act of rebellion is surviving during dark times. I totally agree. It's why when we do affirmations, I say like, you know, it's not always easy to be around and like to stick through kind of the craziness and the slight depressingness of it all at times. But it's important, you know? And yeah, art certainly helps when things get a little bit too much, I think. I do dog portraits sometimes. I love that. I can't do cats though. That's funny. It's been a while, my friend. How are you? I feel like despair is designed to fool you, not help you. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned despair. I've been playing Danganronpa recently, and I know I'm only 10 years late, and they talk a lot about despair, and I guess it's counterweight hope, and what they can do or what they cannot do, as in what they can hinder you from. I feel like, yeah, in small doses, potentially anything can be helpful. But of course, with something like despair, you got to be careful. You got to be very careful. Yeah, Danganronpa. I can't believe I missed that boat. Like, it came out when I was in high school, and I'm just hearing about it now. I just started the third game. So, have mercy on me. I feel like Monokuma is so cute, despite being so fucking evil. You know what I mean? Literally evil incarnate, but he's so cute though. How can you resist? Yeah, I'll show you guys, for those of you unaware. This guy. I want one. I actually want like an animated real life Monokuma. I was gonna get a plushie, but then the person selling it, like, they just kind of ghosted me, so it's a shame. Anyway. Oh my god, that's cursed. Skinny Monokuma. I tried to get my mum to 3D print one, and it didn't really work, but yeah. Funny shit. Anyway. Yeah, there's all kinds of amazing art across the world, and the cool thing is, like, you can join that world whenever you want. You can be a part of the discussion, I suppose, the conversation. And no matter what form it takes, I think, like I said earlier, I'm pretty lenient about my understandings of art, what art can be. Yeah, it's like the kind of thing where you got to start somewhere. And even if you're just like drawing stick figures, you know, like when I do the doodle bobs here with you guys, it's like, yeah, it's nicht nichts in German, not nothing. So, yeah. That little bear that I showed you guys, yes, is evil. He's just a chill evil guy. I want one so bad. I want a Monokuma plushie so bad. It's actually not funny. I feel like I shouldn't love him as much as I do. He's a pervy, evil, masochistic, horrible, horrible creature. But you gotta love him. He's funny. He's a funny guy / bear. Like chaotic goblin type beat. But yeah. Anyway. Sorry, I don't mean to bring up my, yeah. Fucking weeaboo like, interests. Oh gosh. I'm trying to be cool, you know. Anyway. Let's see. We still got a bit of time before we raid out for today. So, let me think. We've had no crashes so far. I'm happy. My audio's been a bit etsy-ketsy, like so-so. But I'm saying that's a dub so far. You guys have been great. It's a really chill discussion today, which is nice. Sometimes I get a little bit worried about being kind of too boring almost, if we're not doing anything overly bombastic or if I'm not getting dressed up like Squidward, you know. But these discussions are very helpful. They're very, like, I don't know, almost meditative, if I can bastardize the concept a little bit. Yeah. Did I see Squid Game Season 2? Yes, I did. I saw it like the fucking day it came out. I was like, oh, I've been waiting for this. And people had mixed reactions. I was talking to my friends. Some of them loved it. Some of them hated it. Personally, I fucking loved it. And I don't want to give any spoilers for people who haven't watched it. It's still relatively fresh. But sexual tension between, 456 and 001. Come on now. I see it. I see that. Something's going on there. They were just like, yeah. I don't know if this is going to mean much to anyone listening right now, but people were noticing online the dynamic between those two is very similar to Hannibal, the TV show. Will Graham, who's like the detective, and then Hannibal, who's the cannibal. That same kind of interesting push and pull dynamic. Yeah, very, very. Yeah, did you see 001 hating 456's friend? He was jealous. He so was. That's so funny. And yeah, I don't know. There's a part of me that kind of ships them, I'm not going to lie. Even though I know it can't end well, because, the season, the way it ended, a little bit, yeah. Spoiler alert. I'm waiting for the next installment with bated breath, because, yeah. When they did certain reveals, my jaw literally dropped, and I'm like, am I that clueless that I couldn't see this coming? Like when 001 was revealed, essentially, I was like, no way. But yeah. Yeah, the fact that he specifically targeted the friend, I know. It's so funny. And like there are a lot of scenes where you just see 001 like just staring at 456. Like, I'm trying not to say their names because I want to keep this as spoiler free as possible. But like he's just kind of in the background like, you're just like watching him. That's my Pookie Bear, exactly. Oh gosh, that's so funny. I'm glad you kind of get what I'm trying to say, because it's like, yeah, I saw a lot about it on Twitter especially. Though I will say this is literally so random. My Twitter does not load on my phone anymore. It's so bizarre. This has been happening for the past 2 weeks, but if I try and get on Twitter, like on my phone, it just does this. It says something went wrong, but don't fret, it's not your fault. And if I press refresh... No fucking way. What the actual fuck? That's actually such a troll. What the actual fuck? Okay. I guess, don't worry about it. Literally. I swear to God, guys. I swear on my life. I swear on patthicc booty that I'd been trying to do that for the past 2 weeks. I've been pressing refresh over and over again, and it would just say that same message. Of course, the minute I start streaming, it just fucking fixes itself. That's hilarious. Oh God. Well, at least it's working again. Crazy. Anyway, that is so funny. Yeah, I saw a lot on Twitter especially of people like shipping them and saying like, oh, he's staring at his Pookie, it's quite funny. But yeah, what can I say? So silly. So silly. I can't wait to see where they go with it further. Like, I knew there'd be a lot of hype considering the fact that season 1 just like exploded in popularity. But I was like, how are they going to live up to this? Are they going to choke? Or are they going to fully, like just lean into what makes it so great? And I think they definitely hit the mark. So that's rare. With shows that get so popular, it's very hard to live up to the expectations, but I think they did a really decent job. It helped that they had such an amazing cast as well. Like some of the, like the recruiter guy. Yeah. The limited amount of screen time that he had, not to get too into it, was absolutely magnetic. So yeah, pretty revolutionary. I agree. Themes like Kill the Rich. Yeah, exactly. Like shows like that, and the movies like Parasite and stuff like that, talking about class inequality. It's a needed discussion, and it's kind of increasingly relevant, as the divide between the haves and the have-nots grows, and yeah, of course, Battle Royale, which I didn't see, but was kind of, at the time, was seen as a bit controversial that, like, was supposedly ripped off. I can't attest to that or deny it, So, yeah. these themes, I think, will only get more relevant with time. People are going to be like, wow, I'm busting my ass right now to just barely make ends meet. And there are people, you know, like I was saying before, they get paid 45 grand for an Instagram post. How is that fair? You know, it just seems so perverted almost. Like we're living in a parody of a world. But, you know, sometimes it takes the boiling point, like bubbling over, before things actually start changing. And so I guess we'll see how it goes. And I say that from a position of relative privilege, you know. I have a very cushy life compared to a lot of people out there fucking busting their asses every single day. So when it comes to eating the rich, I mean, I'm not rich. I'm very, very not rich. Like, I wish. But I recognize that, you know, after all the rich are eaten, it's, I guess, me next. So, I remembered an art style that you'll love. Is it danxiong? I'm sorry again for my pronunciation. Ooh, interesting. That's so nice. I don't know why Google does that thing where it makes the picture so fucking small. Let's zoom in. That's so nice. That's so vibrant. I love that. Oh, yeah. I think I've seen this in tattoos, but I didn't realize it was kind of like an architecture style as well. Wow, wow, wow. The Korean traditional art. It's so beautiful. In temples in Korea, we have it and it's very trippy. That's so gorgeous. And like, here in Australia, and actually where I live, there are different kind of religious temples according to different denominations, etc., etc. Of course, there's churches, there's mosques and all that stuff. There's also a couple of, I think, Chinese and then Korean temples and stuff like that. They're, you know, they're not as plentiful, of course, as you would imagine in other parts of Asia, like parts of Asia, I should say. But still, they're equally as beautiful, I would say, and a real testament to the attention to detail that you see here as well. Yeah, it's like, it's so, I want the perfect word for this. It's so like heartfelt. I don't know, does that make sense? Like you can see the effort that's gone into it. Whereas a lot of the time, especially here, some of the architecture for houses in particular can be so grey and dull. It's really a shame. But then you look at some of these temples and you're just like, damn, every single like inch has been made with like such intentionality. I think that's the word I was looking for. Like every single brushstroke. It's so beautiful, so delicate. Yeah, I fuck with that for sure. Yeah, we have some Buddhist temples here. We've got like different kinds of temples. The ones like the very traditional ones that you see, like stereotypically associated with China, like the multiple levels and all that. We've got a couple of different kinds. So I feel like Asian art is often underrated compared to European ones. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very much a sign of like the ways in which certain sections of the world, like, you know, some of the Asian and even African parts of the world, like their achievements, their creations and all that stuff has been kind of glossed over. I don't know. You see it all the time. Like there's that meme about how the pyramids must have been aliens, but like the kind of more European marvels of the world were definitely just built by the people at the time. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. That's a conversation for a different day, but I definitely see what you mean. Yeah. Very interesting stuff. Yeah, very diverse. I love it. Damn. It's very trippy. Is it Danxiong? Is that how you pronounce it? I want to get it right. Man doing the painting looks like he may be Muslim. Where was the guy? I lost him. Yeah, it's possible. I like how diverse it can be, really. There he is. It's just such a, yeah, such an intentional practice. I fuck with it, for sure. Let me see here. Sorry, I'm just checking right now who's live. Ariala, Ify, Elu, Ludwig, that's hilarious. Playing Pokemon while he sleeps. Chat plays Pokemon while he sleeps. I think I saw that before. Because we're basically out of time for today, guys. How crazy is that? Let me come back here. If anyone has any raid recs, let me know. Otherwise, I might say hi to one of our friends. I can't even play it himself. What a slacker. That's hilarious. I didn't realize he was back on Twitch. I heard like something about it a while back, but I kind of just glossed over it. That's funny. Thanks for the stream. Thank you guys for being here. Honestly, it's like the best part, you know? It's a lot more homely than talking to myself. So, maybe we can say hi to some cute little ferrets. Because I'm in that kind of soft, chill mood. So I don't want to pass you guys on to like someone who's being all loud and crazy. You can enjoy some cute little ferrets where all the ads, ad revenue and donations, I'm pretty sure, go to the betterment of their enclosures and like the rescuing of more ferrets and stuff like that. So, yeah. Thank you guys. Sam, thank you for joining us for the first time. I hope you can like visit again. That would be really nice. Stream every second day. Roughly the same time, 8 p.m. my time, though we started a bit late today. I'm gonna probably just, I don't know, have some food, hit the hay, and I'm gonna consider this a dub today, considering my computer did not crash. It didn't even kick up much of a fuss either, so that's good. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. Hugs and kisses, cugs and hisses, behave, or at the very least don't get caught. I'm going to chuck up the stream ending slide now and wish you all well. Hopefully see you again next time. Bye. Bye now. Bye. Take care. And yeah, keep shaking that booty, Patrick.